Sometimes the irony of trying to write a theme song for a show called This Will Never Work gets the best of you, and, well, it sucks. So, welcome.
Good evening, and welcome to This Will Never Work. Now, today's episode features Ivy Lafleur. She's a burlesque dancer from Calgary, Alberta. Now, in this episode, Ivy and I discuss an event called Go-Go Battles that Cabaret Calgary puts on. That event was on June 7th. That's long since passed. However, the next Go-Go Battles is actually August 16th. Go to cabaretcalgary.com so you can find out where you can get tickets for Go-Go Battles and all of the other events that they put on virtually an everyday basis. They have burlesque, they have variety shows, they have comedy shows all over the city. Again, go visit cabaretcalgary.com to find out when and where all of these events are happening. And now, our feature presentation. What's going on, guys? Welcome to This Will Never Work. And today's guest is actually a person that I've known for quite a few years now. She actually came on tour with us when I was in a band many years ago, which, if memory serves, you were not that old. You were like 16, 17 at the time. And like remembering back to that, it's like, how did your parents let you do that? Drive across country with like a bunch of dudes. Obviously, we were very protective of her and would never have let anything happen to her. But I would like to introduce my friend, Ivy.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the show. It's been so long since I've seen you.
It has been so long. And hearing you introduce our history of going on tour together, it's so wild to think like that is over 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it was like 36 years ago.
Yeah, literally, give or take. We were fetuses.
Yes, essentially. Yeah. Well, yeah. More so me than you, because I'm a little bit older than you.
Yeah.
But yeah, oh my God. That was 2009.
Yep. Swine 09.
Oh boy. Yeah. Swine 09.
The pandemic before the pandemic we're in now.
Oh my God. It's so weird to think back to that whole I remember the swine flu thing where it was like, it's a big deal. And like, I remember getting a job and you remember the swine flu fist bump?
No.
Okay. So the swine flu fist bump, like how with COVID, it was like the elbow, right?
Yeah.
Swine flu was like a fist bump because they didn't want people shaking hands and stuff. So like, I remember getting a job and it was like I had worked there previously, but it was like my first day back. And so I was like seeing people that I hadn't seen in a while. And I think the first thing I said to the administrative lady, I was like, "What's up? Swine flu fist bump." And she was like, "Do you have swine?" Like she was just like,
my God.
"Oh my." She's like, "Wait, do you have swine flu right now?" And I was like, No. Like, I'm like, that's the thing. Like, so clearly I made up the swine flu fist bump because Ivy doesn't remember it either.
Yeah. I think this is a you thing. Which is great.
Yikes.
We were preparing for COVID our whole lives.
We have been preparing for COVID our whole lives. And oh my God, what a nightmare.
Yeah.
That's been.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, not speaking of COVID, but like in spite of COVID,
yes,
you actually just went to Europe.
Yes.
And did a little tour. So fill me in on that.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, I'm a burlesque performer.
Yeah. Introduce yourself a little bit better than I'm introducing you.
Sure. Yeah. My name is Ivy Lafleur. I'm a burlesque entertainer based in Calgary, Alberta. I work for a company called Cabaret Calgary. We put on a plethora of events. I just scratched the microphone.
Okay.
I'm so sorry,
No.
ears. We put on a plethora of events around Calgary, around Western Canada, really, all within the cabaret realm. So that includes burlesque, drag. We just launched a comedy show. Music. It's wonderful, but that is what I do. And
I didn't realize it was like an actual like company that you work for. That's actually, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's a company of 4 queer women. Okay. So it was started probably 5 years ago. It was started by Bitch Sassity and Miss Randy Lee, who are 2 other burlesque performers. And then like 2 years into Cabaret Calgary, they invited Bitch Sassity's wife, Carla Marks, and then they invited me to join, and then they invited Bellissima. Mm-hmm. So at one point there was 5 women running this company, and then Randy took a step back to just focus on other things. So right now it's just made up of the 4 of us: Carla Marks, Bitch Sassity, Bellissima, and myself, Ivy Lafleur. And yeah, we're just trying to change entertainment in I guess, everywhere, but starting with Calgary.
No, that's fair.
Yeah, and just making space for entertainers and making sure entertainers are getting valued and getting paid fair wages.
What they're worth.
What they're worth,
For
exactly. Yeah, so it's really cool and really inspiring to work so closely with people who have the same vision for you, for their life, and keeps me busy, keeps me on my toes. But yeah, so because COVID was a thing and is still a thing, but because we couldn't travel for so long, once things kind of started opening up again, we were just kind of looking at flights like late 2021, and flights to Europe were like $600 round trip.
That's not bad.
It was very good. So the three of us, myself, Bitch Sassity, Carla Marks, booked these flights, just kind of being like, at this point, maybe we'll be able to travel, maybe not. So
I love that name, Carla Marks, by the way.
Oh yeah, she is. She is very political in everything she does. She has a doctorate in European history, so she is the most chef's kiss.
Dr. Carla Marks.
Absolutely. Yeah,
I
the
like
one
it.
and only.
So you didn't think you were going to be able, you didn't know if you were going to be able to travel.
100%. Yeah, we didn't know if it was going to happen. Honestly, it was like so like blindsiding almost like the week of it happening, because I was like, I hadn't let myself believe this was going to happen.
Right.
Because, you kind of get so used to getting excited for things and then
And being let down.
And being let down again.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So I hadn't fully processed that we were going to Europe until like we were on the plane.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So, we did a little European tour. It was called the Hot Maple Tour. So a little Canadian takeover. Unfortunately, Bellissima couldn't join us, but she held down the fort in Calgary and ran all of our shows by herself. But yeah, we flew into Brighton in England.
Okay, yeah.
And then did a show there, spent a couple days there. From there, we spent a week in Paris. And then did a show in a little small town called Lorient in France, which was wild. It was their first burlesque show they've ever had.
What?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was really cool. And then from there, we went to, where did we go from there? Oh, yes, we went to Liverpool, which was my favorite place. Highly recommend going to Liverpool.
I've never been, but I've always wanted to.
Oh, my gosh. If you're an artist in any sense of the word, Liverpool is like made for you.
I believe it.
Yeah. Liverpool was incredible. And then we went to London and did a couple shows in London.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So
That's
about 3 weeks.
Three. Okay. Yeah. That's quite the tour. And I guess it's like, because with doing that, do you feel like, obviously you love what you do for work. And I'm sure what you do, because like, I know for me, like when I'm doing this kind of stuff, it does not feel like work.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tedious and it's kind of like there's little things that I'm like, I just don't want to do in terms of this. But like when you're touring around Europe for 3 weeks while also having to like put on shows and like do all that stuff, does any part of that ever feel like you're like, I wish I didn't have to do the burlesque part? Like, I wish I could just kind of tour around. Or was it just like all of it kind of like, no, I'm so in for every single aspect of this?
Yeah. I was in for every single aspect of it, for sure. I think it was almost like helpful being overseas and having shows because it gave us something to structure our days around.
Right.
And the way we traveled. So we based where we were going to go on where we could pick up shows.
Okay.
So it gave us a little bit of a direction. I guess in some ways it was a little bit bittersweet because we also bounced around in a way that did not make sense by going like, we were in England, probably an hour from London, but instead we went to Paris next and then back to England based on the fact of where we could get a show at the time.
Right.
So it did like allow or cause a little bit of bouncing around, but like, no, I was all in.
Yeah, that's part of the
all
journey, I
in.
guess. Like,
Yeah.
that, I mean, and was that your first time to Europe?
That was my first time in
Wow.
Europe. Yeah.
So that probably just like added to the whole thing where you're just like, oh my God, like this is unbelievable.
Yeah, and it was so cool to seeing an art form. They do a lot of cabaret there as well, so it's not just burlesque. Almost every show we did had a comedian or a musical aspect to it. So it was a lot more of like the umbrella of cabaret. And it was so cool literally being overseas in a different country and seeing how their community was, and also like how great our community is in Calgary. Like,
Right.
I truly feel, and maybe I'm biased, but I'm a Libra, so I'm also very diplomatic and like, you know, I see all sides of things.
Of course.
And I truly believe that seeing all the entertainment we saw in Europe, which was incredible, like here in Calgary and in Canada, we have so much talent and it holds its own in directly comparing it to talent I saw in Paris.
That's unreal.
And in London. Yeah. Like, people need to stop selling Canada short of what we have to offer, because I've traveled, I've seen it, and we are like just up there as high with burlesque I've seen in New York, burlesque I've now seen in Paris and London. Like, Calgary entertainers are here, and people need to acknowledge that.
And you know what? I 100% believe that, because unfortunately, as an entertainer and as a person who does, you know, kind of like entertainment for a living, those, and I'm not saying me, I'm just saying like people in general, like you look at some of the best comedians, like just some of the best comedic actors of all time. They're Canadian, and where they had to go to the States, they had to go to the US, they had to go to other places in order to actually get paid, you know, to get paid for their craft and stuff like that. And it's true in so many other senses where, you know, bands like, you know, like, yeah, I feel like in Alberta, especially, the arts are not supported in any kind of a significant way.
Yeah.
And that obviously has a lot to do with, our, current and past governments. But honestly, it's just like, it's not just the governments, it's the people too, right? Like there are definitely people that go out and see these shows and stuff like that, but I guess not in the same way that in other markets, right? Like we're not Austin, we're not Portland, we're not, you know, as much as I wish Calgary was kind of like, you know, the Austin of Alberta, where it's like, you know, like a weird art culture-y, you know, place. It's just, it's, I would say we're like, I don't know, is 50% of the way there too high? I've never been to Austin. I just know that Austin, you know, they have South by Southwest. They have a lot of like really art focused stuff. And then you look at like, Dallas, and Dallas is not like that, right? So, and Texas as a whole is very ass backwards, as we know from the media and stuff.
Yeah, I don't think 50% is too far off, honestly, because I also have this theory that Calgary is a really good place to be as an artist, because we have the potential as artists to be on the forefront of building this city up. So as opposed to going somewhere like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal in Canada, like those places are so oversaturated.
And they're established. Right?
So as an entertainer, you might be competing with X amount of other things going on.
Right.
Where in Calgary, I really think people are starting to acknowledge and appreciate the arts. And I do think COVID has brought some attention to that, in making people realize how much they miss that aspect of being able to go out or like experience entertainment, and how much joy that brings to their life, because they could only indulge in it from home for the last
I mean, there's only so much Netflix and Crave TV and like and Amazon and all that stuff that you can watch before you're kind of like, I really want to go and sit in a theater and watch something.
Yes.
So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Calgary has a lot of potential. I think it takes more work from the artists, unfortunately. If you're doing it right now and you're invested in this lifestyle, you're doing work that you're not getting thank yous for. You're doing a lot of free labor in establishing yourself and building connections and advocating for yourself, like
Yep.
sometimes when we approach a venue about wanting to bring a show there, it takes a lot for them to understand and see the potential in what we're trying to offer.
Right.
But it is almost always beneficial, but it takes a little bit extra to
That's
get people
fair.
on board.
Are there we'll get back to Europe in a sec, but do you find that there's, because I know we've had venues close in Calgary, but do you find that there's like enough venues? Like, do you find that there's like, or like, do you feel like that's something that Calgary could benefit from, is like having more cool spaces for people to perform in? I don't know.
It's a good question. Yeah, I think so. I think we could definitely benefit.
And I don't
from
just
having more
mean
venues.
like cabaret. I mean like literally anything.
Totally. Yeah, I think we could benefit. I think we need more accessible spaces.
Right.
So accessible in like a huge broad term, but like I feel like we have like these large venues, like we have the Saddle Dome and the Big Four building, and then we have like Mac Hall and the Ballroom. And then we have like kind of medium spaces or like smaller spaces like Commonwealth and
Right. We have the Max Bell too.
yes,
I mean, like,
Max Bell.
which is on the larger side, I guess. Although
Yeah.
now that I think of it, I don't think I've ever been to the Max. I've been to the parking lot, but I don't think I've ever been in the Max Bell Arena.
Yeah, me either. I feel like they just do concerts there that maybe aren't my vibe.
No, that's fair. Well, that's
Right?
totally fair. And I mean, like, I'm trying to think, like, I think I went to, a friend was working Chasing Summer, and I went and we shot like a music video before Chasing Summer like opened. We shot it in like one of the like little art things. So I was like in there before all the people showed up.
Yeah.
But it was in the parking lot. It wasn't
Yeah.
in the arena. So I was
Yeah.
like, okay, yeah. And like now I'm trying to think. I'm like, have I ever been in that arena?
Yeah. And they don't do a lot there. They're very picky about. Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, now that it's weird, I'm like now thinking about it, I'm like, what are they even, like, what is that used for?
Yeah. I have no idea.
Do they have hockey there? Like, do they have ice there?
Right?
Like, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, me either.
Anyway.
Yeah, I think, in terms of venues, like, I think there needs to be more stages in general. Like,
Right.
I'm thinking about bars and spaces that I've performed in, and we end up doing a lot of roving gigs, which means we like walk around and like play with the audience because there's not a lot of stages built.
Right.
And even with musicians, like, musicians and bands kind of end up setting up like on the floor in a corner.
Yeah.
So, I think we could definitely benefit from more venues. But then again, it comes the struggle of like being a dedicated art space, having funding for that is so difficult. So I understand why we don't have them, but I think they would do really well and they'd be beneficial in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, and I mean, like, it'd be, like the Ironwood.
Yes.
Oh my God, more places like that, please.
Yes.
The Plaza.
Oh, I love the Plaza. I'm so happy it's back.
I know, I am too, and yeah, because that was real scary there for a moment when it was like, ooh, Plaza might not be around anymore, and and I mean, if there had been any inclination of it getting torn down or anything like that, like. Oh my God! Somebody would have had to in that instance, like somebody would have had to have stepped in and prevented that. And I'm glad that it's open again. But oh my God, that place needs to be protected at all costs because it's by far the best. Well, it's like I think it's one of the only like revival theaters left in the city.
Yeah,
like old school movie theaters.
Yeah.
We have the Globe, but the Globe's not like the Globe. I think was built. I want to say in the 80s.
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
Maybe the late set. Like it's not that old.
Yeah.
It's still a great theater. But then there was the one across. Do you remember there was the Globe and then there was the one across the street from the Globe, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was called. But that one was a movie theater as well as it had a stage as well. And then they closed that one down.
Yeah, of
and
course.
if memory serves me, I think they've completely like gutted that building and turned it into something else, which is so sad because that's another like heritage building that, you know, could have been preserved. Calgary has this really bad habit of like tearing down heritage buildings and old stuff and then, you know, putting up skyscrapers.
Yeah. That was another really interesting thing about being in Europe, was seeing buildings that were hundreds of years old and the history they had and how people utilized them for other things. And then, I'd come back to Calgary and someone I know was like, oh, they're tearing down this building. And I was like, how will we ever have any buildings with history behind them if we're just tearing them down and building vacant like buildings, you know? Like,
the King Eddie is a good example of like a building that or like a building being preserved. Because as far as I know, they actually like took the King Eddie down brick by brick and then put it back together is what if that's my understanding. And the NMC is just like, you've toured it, obviously.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We, a friend of mine and we wound up doing like a private tour. Oh my gosh. During COVID. So there was absolutely no one in the building. We got taken around the whole building. A lot of the, behind the scenes stuff that people don't see, like, in some of like the studios and stuff. There was one studio we didn't get to see because there was people in there recording actually, but, that place, that's something where it's like, okay, you know, not just Alberta, but like Canada has put money into, you know, preserving Canadian music heritage, right? So there's you know, instruments, there's costumes, there's all stuff from, and not just from Canadians. I mean, there's a piano in there that's like, that was like Elton John's piano or something like that. And it was like and he wrote, what is it? The majority of like his like famous songs he wrote on that piano or something ridiculous. It was like, it just, that place is a mind blowing experience. And to think that we have that in Calgary is like such a huge step in the right direction.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
So there's that and a piece like that is where I'm like, that we're kind of 50% of the way there. But then in the Austin comparison, it's like Austin has a lot of like old school, you know, buildings and stuff that they've converted into things. And I mean, they have like the Alamo Draft House that like, I'm pretty sure they're taking old theaters and converting them into like more modern theaters, but they still have that like old school vibe.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like the space that we performed in Liverpool, the producer was telling us about it, and it used to be an old church, and so cool, right? And then I guess the lease had run out with the church.
Okay.
So it's right by an art school.
Yeah.
So a bunch of artists got together, bought the space, and transported it into an arts collective space.
Amazing.
Yeah. So like the main spot we performed in, there's like a cute little stage. It's a bar as well. There's some couches in the back. There's a patio. And then on the other side, there's like a full theater space.
Wow.
Yeah. So all these artists just got together and created a collective art space. And it's just incredible. Like,
that is
stuff like that.
Super cool. And you know what? I'm like, how old was that church?
I'm
wonder.
not too sure, unfortunately.
Did it look like old?
Oh, yeah.
Old,
it was
old?
probably like hundreds of years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, like stuff like, I'm not a religious person anymore. I don't know that you're probably not. No, I don't fuck with religion anymore. But I will say that, old Gothic, like, church architecture is fucking rad.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And there's a lot of shit that goes along with it. And I'm assuming it was probably like a Catholic church. So they would have had to like, decommission it.
I don't know.
No,
Yeah.
fair enough.
I think
it
it was
might-
a monastery.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Is that a right word?
Monastery is. I think
Monastery.
a monastery is. What the fuck is a monastery? I think it's where like religious people live. I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like it may have been something like that because I know there was something with nuns
Oh,
in it.
okay.
Because apparently upstairs, which we didn't get to see, but upstairs there's like dance studios you can rent out.
Okay.
And yeah, one of the producers was saying that it's very creepy up there sometimes.
Oh, I believe it.
Probably because of the shit that happened.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
for
don't-
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm.
Yeah.
So yeah, if there was nuns involved, then yeah, it would have been Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And oh man, it's so funny that you say that, like the creepy thing, because what's our oldest building here? Probably like 100 and like a little bit years old. I mean, you go there and it's like you're saying, talking hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know if you believe in ghosts and kind of like spirits and stuff like that. I do a little bit. I definitely believe that there's something beyond our plane of existence.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty
And
superstitious, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I definitely believe that like former occupant imprints on like spaces and stuff like that on really old buildings.
Oh yeah.
Definitely believe that
Yeah.
exists. So in that instance, yeah, going into a space that's like 400, 500 years old.
Yeah.
You got to think, how many people have come through here? How many people have died in here?
Yeah.
You know, even just accidentally or just kind of like thankfully, I haven't been on a plane that has had someone die on it, but I've definitely worked a plane that's had someone. Oh yeah. Like where they're like flying and then we get the heads up like, oh, just so you know, somebody died on the way here. And it's like, whoa, it happens more than you think.
Oh my god.
And they keep it. It's not it's not a thing where it's like it makes the news all the time, because honestly it's like people just die of natural causes.
Totally.
And they just like they're like, cool, I'm going, like New York to California. And they don't make it to California. They're like, by the time you're like over Minnesota, they're like gone. So then sometimes they'll just kind of put a sheet over the person on the plane and everybody kind of just awkwardly sits there.
Oh my gosh, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I saw a TikTok that was like, yeah, things you don't realize. When someone dies on a plane, they just like put a blanket over them. They're like, yeah, they're just sleeping.
No, yeah. Oh, he's so tired. Yeah. And then they just kind of, I think at that point, I think they let everybody else off the plane first. Like they get everybody off and then they deal with it.
Yeah.
Cause, then the plane's haunted and it's
Yeah,
just like,
totally.
So I can't even imagine how many planes are haunted nowadays. And it's just, no, but, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. And more of that needs. Okay. Are you familiar with that? I don't know what neighborhood it's in, but it's that crazy, like, green and white castle looking house.
Oh my gosh.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. It's in Mount Royal.
Yes.
Yes.
I actually just drove by it recently.
Oh my God.
Have you ever been in it?
Okay. They were trying to sell it for a little while.
They're still trying to sell it. There's
Oh
there's a
my
for sale
God.
sign on it. I know.
Yeah. So when they were first trying to sell it, they had all these pictures up on the internet.
Yep.
So I haven't been in it, but I tentatively looked at those photos.
You've never been inside it?
No.
I have. Okay.
So jealous.
Yes, and you should be, because it's one of the coolest houses I have ever been in my life.
Of course it is.
For everyone that's listening, this house it's in one of the more affluent neighborhoods in Calgary. It is a massive house, and it's literally got like a castle like spire off the front of it that you can go up into, and like it like looks out onto the street. The driveway's huge. It's got the backyard's not like super huge because he kept like adding on to the house, but it's got a pretty big garage off the back. But it like I said, it's a huge house, but when you get in there, there are so many quirky like architecture things that this dude did where you're like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Like you go into the kitchen and it's like you can't even open the fridge fully because the way he and I'm pretty sure he did all of the architecture himself. Like he built it himself. You can't even open the fridge fully because it like hits the island that's in the center of the kitchen. And everything is like very much like stuck in the 80s.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's got a ton of bedrooms. In the kitchen, there's also like a spiral staircase that is super small. It's like I could barely fit down it.
Yeah.
I had to like walk sideways. I was also bigger at the time, but I was like, I had to walk sideways going down it.
Yeah.
And so it goes straight down into the basement where there's like a pool table and it.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever walked into like, okay, think of like I know you have been like an Elks Lodge or like a veteran center or whatever that, you know, like where we would have shows and stuff like
what are they called?
I know, like
the Legion?
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
A Legion. Okay,
Yes.
so when you walk into like a Legion and it's very like they have like a certain aesthetic,
Yes.
right? Like there's wood paneling on the wall. They've got
Yeah.
like you know, like photos of old people on the wall, maybe a pool table, like stuff like that,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you there are multiple ways to get into this house. You can walk into there. I believe there's a door to get into like the basement part from the outside, but then you can also walk up this crazy walkway to the front door, which is like in the bottom of that weird like tower.
Yeah.
And then you walk in and it's just like, okay, you can go like up the staircase to go into the tower, or you can go into the house. Like it's weird.
Oh my gosh.
So I believe when we went in the first time, we went in through the upper door, but then you go into the basement. Yeah, there's like a giant pool table, and the basement has like, if memory serves, I took a lot of photos. I don't know if I have them somewhere, but if memory serves, the carpet is like red velvet.
Yes, that's what I remember from the photos.
Okay, perfect. And then it's like wood paneling walls. So you kind of roughly know, if you've seen the ad, like they'll know what I'm. So the reason why we were in there is because, do you know Lizette?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love
it was
Lizette.
her birthday.
Oh my gosh.
And they had her birthday party at this house.
Wow.
And so what happened is like this art collective or like whatever had taken over the house, and they had basically turned a whole bunch of it into like art spaces. So like the bedrooms were all painted matte black, and then people were just going in there and like painting the walls, and it was like they had black light. Oh, it was rad. The one living room had and I have a photo of it somewhere. The one living room was all dark. There was no lights in there, but they had like 12 old tube TVs that were all turned on and all in static.
I think I've seen a picture of that somewhere.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And then the kitchen, it was, you know, that like overhead lighting that's literally just like solid rectangle lighting, but it's like that was the kitchen light. I love lighting like that. Oh my god, it's my favorite way to light things, because it just like casts this really nice glow on top of everyone's head. Like there's like a back patio thing in the backyard with like it's a really cool house. The art collective part of it, they kind of like it definitely doesn't look, I don't know what it looks like on the inside now, because this was like a few years ago, but like when I was in there, all the rooms were like painted black, and like they had really there's like a fucking like secret library room that like is like, there's like a library that has stairs to go downstairs too. Oh my god, there were so many cool weird things that like it was like, why did he do this? But I get it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I was like, because like I'm like, if I would have done the same thing. Like it's just so, and it's all of it, all the aesthetic in the house is very 80s. Like it's very old. And I guess the story with him is just this guy that he was so proud of his house. I know I'm talking about this house for a really, really long time, but he was so proud of this house, and just, it was like his whole life, right? Like it was his life's work. And actually one of Krista's friends she's an EMT, and she was one of the ones that got the call to go and essentially like pick this dude up in the ambulance when he was dying. And so I don't think he didn't die in the house, but he like I think he died in the hospital. But yeah, I guess he just like his whole life was like wrapped up in this, in like living in the, and he lived
Yeah.
alone. Which
Really?
oh yeah, apparently he lived alone, and like
my
which is
gosh.
crazy because it's a
Yeah.
huge house.
Yeah, it's huge.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know if that art collective still has. We should find out because like you
Yeah.
you should go tour that house.
Yeah, I
and
would
I know
love
it's still
to.
there because I drove by it like
Yes.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I used to live in Bankview, so I like would drive. That's like the way I would take home
Right.
from
Yeah, yeah,
downtown
yeah.
because I would love looking at the houses. I didn't know he died. I was curious why it was up for sale.
Yeah.
I hope it is still an art collective because I remember seeing an article about that and I was like, that is the kind of stuff that needs to be happening.
Yeah.
So that would be really cool if it still was. I have visions of things I would like to do in that house.
Like what?
Like, yeah, that sounds very
Dirty?
yeah, 100%. I don't
was
know
like,
whose
ooh.
brain went where, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Mine
no,
went right to the gutter. Don't worry.
absolutely.
Always.
Yeah.
Always
But
in the gutter.
I would love to do I have some show ideas that I'd like to put on there.
It would be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Because
saw-
literally, like, they performed in that house that night
Yeah. Okay.
in like one of the giant living rooms. Like if it is still in possession of that, you guys should definitely look
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
into it.
Okay.
Because or you all, not you guys.
Oh, bless.
yeah, no.
I appreciate
I try
you
to-
doing
I
that.
try to
Thank
stay
you.
woke.
Yes.
And I try. That is actually something that I'm trying to take out of my vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
Refer like the you guys thing. I actually am actively trying to take that out of my
yeah,
vocabulary.
I noticed. Thank you. Let's stop gendered language.
But honestly, you should look into
Mm-hmm.
it because if you could do a show there,
Yeah.
be unbelievable.
Yeah. Okay.
And you would get to see all of the weird
Yeah.
like intricacies that I'm talking about.
Yes.
It is such a weird house, and I would live there.
Yeah.
I would and I think the problem with it is that whoever buys it, there's no way that they're gonna want to just move into that house. Like
Yeah.
they'd be buying it for the property
Exactly.
and then putting
Oh,
up something different.
that's
which
so
is
heartbreaking.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like personally I would love to preserve. I would paint the outside, I think. I don't
You don't like the white and teal? I love it.
Yeah. It's too WestJetty for me.
Fair. There's some
I'd
trauma connected to those colors.
I would paint it black. I would paint the exterior of that house like matte black, and then it would be
Wow.
like, oh yeah, and then I would just have like a permanent like rainstorm and lightning show like installed over
gosh.
top of it. So like,
Love it.
even on like a sunny day, you driving by and it would still be like, oh, Castle Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Like it'd still be just
Your radio as you drive by automatically like connects the Bluetooth of thunder sound.
and it's just like yeah, and like people's tire, like I have like spikes on the road so people's tires go,
Yeah.
I can have my own like Dr. Frankenfurter,
Yes.
like Rocky Horror Mansion.
Totally.
Oh my
Wow.
God, that's the
How
show.
has that
right,
not been done?
That's the show right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
just you do like you don't have to do Rocky Horror necessarily, but you could do like a Rocky Horror-esque
Absolutely.
burlesque.
Rocky
my
Horror-esque
God.
burlesque.
Oh,
You heard it here first.
just a jump to the left. I love Rocky Horror
Yeah.
so much.
It's a cult classic.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So so you said the church was in Liverpool.
Yep.
And then yeah, Krista was so jealous of your Paris pics that she actually started planning like a Paris trip with a friend of hers. She was like, oh, my friend is posting pictures in Paris right now, and I want to go to Paris so bad. So I think they're gonna try. I don't think they can this summer, but they're gonna try.
Oh, highly recommend. Yeah, Paris was beautiful. And it's such like a romanticized place. Like, even if you haven't been to Europe, I think everyone dreams of going to Paris at some point just because you see it in movies and so many pictures of it. And it was beautiful. It was really hot, which I wasn't expecting.
Really?
It was really hot. It was like the week it snowed in Calgary and it was like plus 20 in Paris.
Oh.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, you lucked out. 'Cause
I know.
that week was bad
Yeah,
here.
I know. I was like, good riddance, goodbye.
Yep.
But yeah, also like the drinks are super cheap. I saw some really good jazz in Paris, which was incredible. We went to a cabaret show on a boat, which was very cool.
Okay.
Again, talk about utilizing space. It was like a little kind of like mini yacht, and it was
Yeah.
just docked.
Okay.
the top level was a cocktail bar, so you can have drinks and dinner, and then you walk downstairs.
Oh, so it's like a pretty big boat.
Yeah, it wasn't like super big, but it was like big enough.
How many people?
I'd say like 60.
Okay, yeah, that's a pretty big boat.
Okay. Yeah, it wasn't like a rowboat, but it wasn't a cruise ship.
No, that's fair. I mean a 60-person boat. Like, I mean, I'm picturing like the boat tour episode from The Office. It's either hockey or The Office with me right now.
Yeah, I was actually just listening to some of your podcast with Bunker.
That's the first time I've mentioned hockey in this podcast,
yes!
though. So yay,
Woo!
I'm doing good so far. Believe me, it's killing me.
Yes, I get it.
No, I know it's fine.
I do like hockey, and the playoffs make me very excited.
Oh my God, no, don't tell me that. I was really hoping you were like, I don't care about hockey and I don't want to talk about the playoffs, so that we don't talk about it, because now all I want to do is be like.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that I live very close to 17th Ave.
Oh God.
It's very bittersweet because the energy is also contagious. But as a performer, it is a little difficult when the games fall on show nights.
Oh my God.
Because that's been a little bit of like, sometimes affects our draw.
Oh yeah. So. Like okay. I thought you were gonna say like getting home, because.
I mean, yeah, that too. But more importantly,
getting
people
getting butts and seats.
Yes,
yeah, okay,
totally.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, especially in this city. Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Like everyone's going to the games.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about hockey now. No. I've had multiple people ask me to go to game 1 and 2, like this week, like tonight.
Yeah. And Friday.
Yeah. Like I got invited to the game tonight, and I got invited to the game on Friday. And I'm just like, I'm like, no, I can't.
Why?
Because I don't want to go and watch Calgary maybe win and be in. I don't want to be in the Saddle Dome.
You're an Oilers fan.
I am.
Yeah, I know. When I was driving here, I was like, I know exactly which house I'm going to.
Exactly right. No, like I went to game. Oh my God, we're gonna tangent time. No, I went to game 7 of the Oilers Kings.
Oh my gosh, you did?
I was in the arena for game 7, Oilers Kings.
Yeah.
Most amazing hockey game I've ever been to in my entire life. It was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I got home so we drove there. We left at like 4:00. We made it in time. We got there at like 6:30, so it wasn't actually that bad. 6:45, whatever it was. So like plenty of time before puck drop, because it wasn't until 8. And then we just kind of hung out in they're calling it the Moss Pit, like out in front of which is
my gosh,
which is a really good tribute to Joey Moss. I love that.
That's very cute.
Yeah. And then so there's like so many people there that are watching outside, and then not one single empty seat in the arena. So it's just like people everywhere.
Yeah.
And my friend and I wore an orange wig, he wore a blue wig.
Oh my gosh.
So we dressed up like a little bit, and people were just, we like collectively as a group, like if that game had ended with LA winning, the mood in the city and in the arena would have been very like, okay, well, yeah, there it was, like they took it to 7 and then they disappointed us again.
Totally.
But the fact that they broke through and actually, it was just this weird, like, elating feeling, because like they haven't made it to the second round since 2017. Calgary hasn't made it to the second round since 2015?
I'm not sure.
So
I know it's been a while.
I think it's 2015. So there's right now in Alberta, there's just this collective like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
They haven't made it since 2015. We haven't made it since 2017. Our last 2 playoff appearances have been absolutely pathetic.
Yeah.
Where the COVID year, we didn't even make it in the playoffs because we got beat by Chicago in the play-in series, and then they got absolutely raked over the coals. Then last year, we played Winnipeg in the first round. Calgary didn't even make the playoffs last year because it was that stupid Canadian division thing. And we got raked over the coals by Winnipeg for some stupid reason. And then
Winnipeg's really good. So
no, but they didn't even make the playoffs this year. But
yeah.
No, they're not very good right now. They were good last year. They're not very good right now. So you cut to this year, and it's like right now we're kind of like, okay, whoo. And then
Yeah.
the Battle of Alberta on top of all of that.
Gosh, I get it. And like, I'm excited because I know it's going to be like the energy that you were talking about. Like that is so contagious. And that's why I love playoffs because it's so hype or not.
Oh,
But,
it's so
like
crazy.
I'm so sad that it's like Battle of Alberta because truthfully, I would be stoked if either team, like, why can't we both?
I know.
Why can't we
I know.
both like be making it really far?
I know. Well, and because we're in the same division, it kind of like that's just what ended up happening.
Yeah.
If for some reason Calgary and Edmonton were in a different division and they were able to have like a Western Conference like final matchup, like could you imagine a third round Battle of Alberta? Second round Battle of Alberta is insane. Like we haven't seen this for 31 years, since 1991. I was 3 years old, apparently, the last time this happened.
Wow.
And 31 years.
Yeah.
And like it's going to be the nicest. Adding on to what you're saying, see, now we're talking about fucking hockey. God damn it. Every single time. If you had just said, no, I don't want to talk, I don't like hockey, it would have been like, oh yeah, we'll just move on with Europe. But hockey's what's on everyone's mind right now. And now, like right here, right now, because it's just absolutely insane. What was I going to say? Shit, I lost what I was going to say.
Battle of Alberta.
Thank you.
31 years.
Yeah, 31 years. Like, it's this, like, I don't know. There's just this overwhelming, like, tension. Oh, what I was going to say is, like, so Toronto obviously got ousted in the first round again. Okay. I actually did want Toronto to win because I don't want Tampa to move on. Like, I want Tampa to kind of, I don't want Tampa to win the cup again.
No.
Nobody wants
poor Toronto. They got set up having to play against Tampa. Like, who saw that coming?
I know, right?
That's sad.
Every year.
Yeah.
But it just feels like, every year by this time in the playoffs, it's been very, very rare, but like usually by this time I guess last year Montreal went all the way. So a Canadian team, I guess, did make it to the finals last year. Now that I'm thinking about, but it's just like, it's so nice that a Canadian team guaranteed now is making it to the Western Conference final.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, St. Louis put up a really good fight last night against the Avalanche. The Avalanche are a really good team, and I think St. Louis surprised everybody by beating Minnesota, especially in 6. So it's possible that St. Louis could, like, it's kind of, if St. Louis battles really hard, they could maybe steal that series and make it to the conference final. Most likely, it's probably going to be the Avalanche in the conference final, but it's going to be, an Alberta team and most likely the Avalanche in the Western Conference final. And then it's like, okay, if it's Calgary, does Calgary, get past the Avalanche to go to the Stanley Cup final? If it's Edmonton, does Edmonton have what it takes to get past the Avalanche? Like, I don't know.
Honestly,
It's so
like, when I found out, like, I don't follow playoffs that closely, so it's been kind of building up that I'm like, oh, this is happening. I'm starting to get excited. So I didn't realize that the Oilers were playing the Kings.
Okay.
And then when I found that out was Game 7, and then when I found out they won, I was shocked because the Kings are also a team that I find is normally pretty high up in the playoffs. Like, they normally do really well.
Yeah.
So I was shocked, and I was talking to my dad about it. My dad used to be a hockey coach.
Okay.
My dad used to work at the Flames games in Calgary doing broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
I played hockey when I was 4 years old, but then again when I was 12 years old for another 3 years.
Okay, so hockey's in your blood.
Hockey's in my blood.
Wow.
Yeah, it's deeply rooted there. Yeah, my dad got an offer to be a scout for the LA Kings at one point and turned it down. I know.
Well, you would have had to move to LA.
That's true. What a different life I would have had.
Oh my God, you'd be like LA queen.
Yeah, totally. But I was talking to my dad about this game with the Oilers and the Kings, and my dad was saying that Connor McDavid, is that his name? he was like, Connor McDavid is the best player out there right now.
Yeah.
Like, my dad fully thinks that they could take any team because of Connor McDavid.
Yeah.
So who knows, you know?
Really, it's gonna, like, he's not wrong. And in those, I mean, granted, the Oilers struggled a little bit. They played a really good, like, game one, we lost it 4-3. It was tied throughout virtually the whole game. It was a really close game. Both teams played really well. Mike Smith, our goalie, made just like a small, he made a mistake, shot the puck up the center of the ice instead of passing it to, you know, one of the open guys on the side. That resulted in the fourth goal for the Kings. Okay, Kings win first game at home too, in Edmonton. So that kind of sucks. Then you get to game two. In the press, you know, junkets after game one, Mike Smith's like, yeah, I fucked up. It's, you know, won't happen again.
Yeah.
You get to game two. Okay, it's 6-0 for the Oilers. Oh yeah, they walked all over them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Keep in mind, in that second game, I can't remember if Connor even scored a goal in that game. Like, I know he had a few assists, but I can't remember if he scored his first goal in that game. He might have scored his first goal in the first game. I can't fully remember. Anyway, cut to game three. Okay, now it's the first game in LA. That game ended 8-2 for Oilers.
Holy.
Yeah, so we're like, okay, all right.
That's a large amount of goals for hockey.
Oh yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like you normally don't see over 5.
Yeah, so in three games, the Oilers had, and Jonathan Quick, who's an amazing goalie, was in net for LA at the time.
Yeah.
So in the first 3 games, it was 3, 9, 17 goals to 6 goals, 17-6 goals in the first 3 games, and then you get to game 4. Okay, so it's the second game in LA, and I think it ended 4-0 for LA.
Okay.
Oilers didn't show up.
Yeah.
The entire team, I don't know what happened. None of them showed up, and it was like, whoa, what the, like, how did you go from like absolutely walking all over them to completely falling apart, right? And this is just like one of those things where, as a fan base, the team has like disappointed the fan base before, so all of a sudden you have everybody just going throwing the series is tied 2-2, and you literally have fans throwing in the towel going, yep, this is it, this is the end. And it's like, people don't realize it's like it can go to 7 games. Like, it's a long, they can be long series.
Yeah.
You just have to have faith. So then you get to game 5, and it's like, okay, they're going to come back stronger. They're at home in Edmonton. They're going to come back stronger. They lose that game, whatever it was, and it was like, I can't remember the score. And it's like, now people are really throwing in the towel, and they're like, Kings up 3-2, like, it's over. Yeah. It's over. They won their 2 games. It's over. Then they go back to LA for game 6. Oilers walk all over them, win that game. I think it ends. I think they won it 4-2 or whatever. That was when Kane threw up as he skated by the LA fans, he threw up the 7. And he's like, we're going to game 7 after we got the empty net. I was like, ooh. So then that was when when they announced game 7 happening, I literally, that game 6 ended. I text my friend. I said, clear your schedule. We're going.
Oh my God.
Because I already had the tickets. I was just like, clear your schedule. We're going. Game 7, 2-0, doesn't matter. I went to 10 games live this year, and I watched basically all of them on TV. That was probably one of the best games I had seen the Oilers play all year. Defensively, offensively, goaltending wise, everything was just like, they kept the puck away from Smith. When it did get to Smith, Smith was like dialed in and just like a tuna, it doesn't matter. They don't need to score 10 goals to win the fucking game.
No.
2 is fine.
2 is perfect.
2-0 is great.
Yeah.
1-0 is great.
Yeah.
I don't care. A win is a win.
Yeah.
But it was the tightest checking game they have played all season, I feel like. And so after that, now like going into this round 2, it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I feel like they're ready. And back to your dad's point, we saw Connor kind of like we've watched Connor's game evolve over the last 6 years or 7 years that he's been with the Oilers. But even in these last 7 games, it's like we watched him evolve as a player in this. Like he found a new level. Like he found a new gear in the playoffs, and it's like, whoa. Because he doesn't need to. And that's the thing. He doesn't need to score. He got 14 or 17 points in those. He had 6 multi-point games in that 7-game series. Oh my God. He's the second player in NHL history to ever do that.
Wow.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Yeah. Not that I want to talk about hockey the whole rest of the
know.
pod, but it's really hard not to, though, because it's just like, I'm like, we're literally game 1 is tonight, and we're just like in the thick of it. And I don't know what's going to happen. Yeah. This episode's not coming out for a couple weeks. So people are going to be like, motherfucker, like that series is over. Like, what? So I'm excited now to when this episode comes out. I might not be excited anymore, which is going to be
see what feelings it brings
or
up.
I might just be like, round 3, baby, let's fucking go. But yeah, just like being in the city, being in Edmonton, being in the city after that win, and like driving through the city. I drove the Mustang, so I had my loud car. Oh. We were blaring La Bamba. Yeah. I was like round 2. We were just screaming at people as we were driving through the city. Oh my God. Driving by cops, just revving my car. It was amazing. Yeah. Cops are like, yeah, we'll ticket you later. And I'm like, nope, going to Calgary. Fuck you.
100%. You're like, bye.
Bye.
Oh my God.
Got home at 3 a.m. Like Sunday morning. Hilariously, Krista was like awake. Because she was like, oh, I woke up to pee and saw you just got home. And I was like, yeah, I have no voice because I've been screaming all night. But I'm going to bed. I'm very tired.
Yeah.
Very excited. It wasn't even like that. I was just like, oh my God, this happened. And we talked to these people and made friends with these people. And it was just an unbelievable night. And so, yeah, it would be fun to go to game 1 or game 2, like in the Saddle Dome. But it's also just like, I don't feel like I sure it'd be fun. Like, but the other thing is too, is like if the Oilers win, I do not want to be anywhere near downtown, like at all.
Yeah.
Because, I'll get murdered.
Yeah. I'm genuinely afraid of the potential chaos.
Yeah.
That might happen.
I don't think people in Calgary are like, they're not going to pull a Vancouver and start flipping cars and like lighting shit on fire. I don't think I really hope that they're not that stupid. No. But it's still just like, it's like that dude, that guy you saw that where the guy that got pushed at the game and like got hurt, the guy with wearing the turban.
Oh, yes.
Like that's awful.
That's so shitty.
It's absolutely awful. And it's so unnecessary. Mm-hmm. Like, are you kidding me? It's a hockey game. Yeah. Yeah, like let's have fun. Let's absolutely like build up the rivalry and stuff, but people don't need to actually get hurt. No. As a direct result of a goddamn hockey game. Yeah. That is so stupid. Yeah. So I really hope that guy, I know that his daughter's posted a few updates, and I think he's, according to her, I guess he's doing okay. Like he's in some pain, but he's doing all right. Yeah. And they're investigating the people that did it and whatever. And it's just like, come on, like, give me a fucking break. Like that's so unnecessary.
Yeah. 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 Hopefully people are, I think you're right. I think people will be fine. We'll see. I know there's like such an asterisk after that, right? Where it's like, yeah, it'll be fine. Asterisk, like people they're gonna drink heroin beer, and it's just like, you know what I mean, like everybody's gonna be drunk, and and if they win, they're gonna be like super happy and like, like crazy, and then if they lose, it's gonna be like they're gonna be drunk and like upset. Totally. Or hopefully people just go into it with the mentality of being like, hey, it's an Alberta team, like whoever wins this, Alberta is going, like, I mean, maybe of course Oilers number 1, but that is definitely how I'm looking at it. I don't think a lot of people look at it that way. There's a lot more people out there that are like,
Flames only, fuck the Oilers.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people out there that are like, Oilers only, fuck the Flames,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like, there's... It's funny how like arbitrary it is.
Yeah.
I love hockey and I love my team, but hockey fan bases, like we're also like, it's just so arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
We literally don't like the players and the team purely because we like this. Like it's
Totally,
just, it's so, hockey fandom is just hilarious. Any fandom really is hilarious.
100%.
They're just, people in general are hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. It's like Star Wars versus Star Trek. Like, it's like you can't like one thing because you like the other thing and you're
Yeah, you
committed
can't.
to that thing.
Yeah. But it is Star Wars. Fuck Star Trek.
I cannot have an opinion. I have not seen Star Trek. So, I mean, I guess I'm Team Star Wars because I've seen that and not Star Trek.
Do you like Star Wars?
I like it.
Oh my God.
I just have a hard time following
I
it.
like it. What's hard about following it?
It's so confusing. I didn't watch it until my adult life, and I was like, I'm sorry. I watched 4, 5, 6. I skipped 1 because I was told not to watch it. So then I watched 2, 3.
Okay. So you didn't watch Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So you've
that's
seen...
the one with Jabba the Hutt, or no, sorry, that's the one with Jar Jar Binks, right?
Yeah,
I didn't watch that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. I mean, it's bad, but it's not. No, but like honestly, I mean, like that one came out when it was 22 years ago, which is crazy in and of itself. But yeah, I was like 12 or 13 when that came out. So it's like having not, grown up with like, going to see the originals and like from the 70s, 80s and whatever.
Yeah.
When the Phantom Menace comes out, it's not like this thing, as kids, we're kind of like, ooh, new Star Wars. Like we're not looking at it from this angle of like, it's all about trade problems and fucking, like we don't, we're like, Jar Jar Binks is annoying, but I mean, Darth Maul's cool.
Yeah. I think the reason I'm not like as woo on Star Wars is because I don't have the nostalgia behind it.
That's fair.
And then also, the older I get, the more I realize how it's very reflective of social studies and like, it literally is called Star Wars. So it's reflective of wars. And I didn't piece that together. So I think my brain just like doesn't get it.
No, that's fair. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. I mean, hey, I'm not going to shame you for not liking or not necessarily being as interested in certain things as other people.
Yeah. But I respect the passion behind it. I love when people are really into something. It makes it very contagious. Like it makes me want to get it.
For sure.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, see, I mean, and I'm not like I love Star Wars. But I mean like Ghostbusters is like that's my
your
thing.
jam.
That's my thing. I mean, as you can see.
I know. I was looking at your is that Marshmallow?
Oh yeah, I have my Stay Puff.
Stay Puff.
My little mini puffs on my leg, and then
so
I've got like my
cute.
whole. Eventually, I'm gonna get Miles to finish my entire.
Oh my gosh.
Ghostbusters sleeve. Miles, what's up, baby? Yeah. No, I have to get that finished eventually. I mean, he started this. It came up in my Facebook memories. He started this like 8 years ago. Wow. I know, but he's in Victoria now, so it's like
it's the worst. I mean, not for him, but
no, it's great for him, but it's like it's just more difficult to go. It's like I saw him, and it's funny because I went out to Victoria twice last summer, and going out there, he was like, he met at one point. He called me. He's like, "So am I tattooing you while you're out here?" And I was like, "Fuck no." I was like, "No, I want to enjoy my trip. I don't want to get tattooed." And he was like, "Okay." He was like, "I won't pencil you in then." I was like, "Yes, please don't." Yeah. And then he's coming. They're doing that like deadly tattoo convention.
Oh yeah.
At the Grey Eagle, so he's coming for that. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get him to do something small on me. But he'll be like, "Can I just work on your arm?" And I'll be like, "No."
Yeah. Like, such
no,
a commitment.
because I just don't want to get. I hate getting tattooed.
I know it gets worse as you get older.
So much worse. Like this one. This is my most recent one. The little mini puffs.
Yeah.
And she did such a good job, and like it's so well done, and I love it. And I just remember, and also it was I can't remember her name, but her Instagram's I'm a Cat Meow.
Oh, I don't think I know.
Okay, fair enough. She has like a private studio somewhere in Calgary, and it was really nice because it's like it was just like me and her like alone in her private, like it was like an apartment that's been converted into tattoo studios.
Utilizing space.
Right? So it's like so brilliant and just like a really comfortable spot. She's decorated it really nicely. She also had like a small VHS TV.
Incredible.
And she had Ghostbusters on VHS. So we like,
oh my gosh.
She like put it on and she was like, yeah, we went. She was like, it was funny because she was like, yeah, I'll put it on like while we're doing this. She was like, we won't get through the whole movie. And I was like, that's fine. It's not like I've never seen it before.
Yeah.
But then we ended up getting through the whole movie.
Oh my God.
Because it just like, she ended up like going like a lot longer than I thought she was going to.
Yeah.
And it was weird because like I've had this like shrimp one that Cody did for me. Like he did that in like 10 minutes. Like it was just like, brrr. So this I was like, oh yeah, she'll bang that out pretty quick. And then it just like we were just like chatting and like just talking, and it wasn't like she was going slow, but it just like it took a long time, and it was just like I remember laying there going, oh my God, oh, and it's like in a kind of a tender spot, and I was just like, I just want this to be done.
Yeah.
I just want to be done. Like I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done. But I can't tap out because I'm like, it's such a small tattoo.
Totally.
Like that's such a stupid thing to tap out on.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have tapped out, but it's just like, you know, when you're laying there and you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Your brain is just like so over it.
And they're like running lines and you're just like, yep, soon it'll be done. Soon it'll be done.
Yeah.
Why aren't you done?
Yeah.
Oh my God, stop. And then they stop and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
oh. Yeah. And then like the wiping becomes irritating. You're like, ugh.
I hate getting tattooed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did I ever start getting tattooed?
I know, right? Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fucking worst. Okay, so Europe.
Oh
my God.
End tangent time.
That's the end of my tangent. This tangent was brought to you by coffee.
Coffee.
And Vyvanse and ADHD.
Coffee and ADHD.
Don't get ADHD.
Yeah.
It's the worst. ADHD is bad for you.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing.
Do you have ADHD?
Oh, I sure do.
Oh, fuck.
I sure do.
We all do.
I know. I also can't afford medication for it. So it's just like something that I'm like, I kind of love it. I mean, ADHD is such a beautiful thing because neurodivergent people are so beautiful and so passionate, and like they just are such unique people. Mm-hmm. However, the world is not set up for success of neurodivergent people. So
I watched a TikTok this morning that was like, so I it's weird. I take Vyvanse.
Yeah.
And my sister also takes Vyvanse. And the way she describes the Vyvanse like working for her, she's like, oh yeah, it's just like, and I talked about this on a previous episode with a friend of mine as well, where she's like, oh yeah, it's like a light switch, like things just like, she's like, I can focus more and whatever. And for me, that doesn't necessarily happen. So then I'm watching this TikTok this morning, and it was like, it was one of those like put a finger down things, right?
Yeah.
And it was like, put a finger down, and I won't tell you what it is until the very end.
Yeah.
And I think I got 9 out of the 10. And at the very end, she's like, yeah, so if you put 5 or more down, you are like somewhere on the autism scale. And I was like, oh God. Because I've like I've been curious lately. Like, am I like, is there, I'm wondering like, because it is a spectrum, right?
Yeah.
So I'm wondering like where on the autism spectrum, like I'm falling, because like I have really bad restless leg syndrome. I have really bad, you know, like there's just like so many things that I can't remember all the things that she said in the video, but like, I've had like super bad anxiety, and I'm taking a thing for that now. And it's just like, I don't know if there's like, I just don't know how to like, I don't know. I got to talk to my doctors because I don't know how to fix the things that I've been dealing with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally. I mean, I think that's like a huge misconception about autism in general, is like, it's not something you fix, you know?
No.
But I think,
and I'm not saying that I want to fix it.
No, totally. But, yeah, there's also a lot of overlap with people who are ADHD
Yeah.
or people who have ADHD with autism. There's a ton of overlap, especially in women, particularly because they didn't, when they were studying autism in like whenever, years ago, they only studied, or sorry, when they were studying ADHD, they only studied young boys and how it affected young boys.
Okay.
So they didn't do any studies on women or young girls. So there's a lot of women who are getting diagnosed.
They don't respect women.
Exactly. Yeah, we are. Yes.
Well, you've been second-class citizens.
Yes.
You still are technically.
Oh, I mean, based on all the laws that are currently passing, yeah. But yeah, they didn't.
Which are fucking ridiculous.
They're ridiculous. It's so shocking. Like, it's 2022.
The fucking intoxication one.
I
That
know.
just like, and that was Canada, right?
Yeah.
The Canada Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, it's messed up.
What?
I know. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yes. No, there's just so many things.
I know.
But yeah, there's lots of women who are getting diagnosed later in life with ADHD because they didn't study how it looked in women.
Right.
So yeah, there's just lots of women getting diagnosed later in life. And just in general, like, I think people think of ADHD and they think of hyperactivity.
Yeah.
Without realizing.
Squirrel.
Yeah, exactly. Which,
Yeah.
like, sure, that's a component of it, but there's so much to it that people don't realize.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not uncommon for it to be parallel to being on the spectrum.
For sure.
Yeah.
And funny enough, so on the previous episode, my friend Danny and I were talking about how, and this has always been a thing with Krista and I, where she's like, I don't need to be passionate about what I'm doing for work. I don't need to be like, you know what I mean? Like, I can just go work a job. And I know, right? So it's always been kind of like almost like a point of contention, right? Between the two of us, where she's like, I don't understand why you can't just like go and get like a 9-to-5 job and just do whatever and blah, blah. And so we finally came to this realization like last week after we were talking about it again. And she was like, you know what? She's like, I don't think it's necessarily that you need to be passionate about what you're doing. She's like, I think you just need to be stimulated by what you're doing. I'm like, oh, and then it was like a light bulb went on. I was like, yep. Because and it's all the way through elementary school and all the way through high school. And my dad always said, he was like, you're really smart. You just get bored. Well, that was the stimulation aspect of it taking over, where it's like, okay, he's like, yeah, when I was in like second or third grade, I was reading at a 7th grade level. And he's like, so my parents are like, sweet, he's really fucking smart. But then it comes to like math and science and like shit I didn't care about.
Yeah.
And all my grades are suffering. And even like English at a certain point where it's just like, I just want to read books and like,
Yeah.
and so my parents are like, why the fuck is he so dumb? Like, why? Not that they were like, oh, he's dumb, but they were just like, why? Like, we don't get why you're smart, but you like your grades are suffering, right?
Yeah.
It's because I didn't care enough to do the work, and I didn't like the way that I was learning. Yeah. And so I said to Krista, I said, look, like, I would be a fucking rocket scientist if they could make movies for me about how the math is done, about building rockets and music, about all of the different components. You know what I mean? I'm like, seriously, I would be a fucking rocket scientist because I would remember all that shit.
Exactly. Look at this setup in here. Like,
I'd be like, oh yeah, Christian Bale said that E equals MC squared, so therefore, but you know what I mean? Like,
if you could learn in a way that was like given to you in a form of your special interests, perfect.
So I feel like that is something that's being looked at more nowadays, where it's not just because when we were growing up, it was very much just like, and especially with all the teachers that I had, it's just like, you get the teacher you get, and you just have to have to adapt to their learning style. Yeah. And a lot of teachers are very much just like, here's the curriculum, do all the, and I don't know how many times I had teachers tell me like, just put the effort in. Exactly. And it's like, okay, yeah, like, like you look at the things that I excelled in. Well, when I was taking media arts and making videos and like stuff like that, all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, he's getting like 90s and 100s and stuff like that. Drama. Yep. doing really well at that. Certain, like English I was usually pretty good at, but my English teacher and I hated each other, so she failed me with a fucking 49.
Oh my God.
It was awful. She was so brutal. And like we actually, like I've never had a teacher that I've actively like, I've had teachers that I've disagreed with. I've never had a teacher that I've actively hated other than her, and she actively hated me back. And it's probably because she was probably like, you know what I mean? Like she was probably on the spectrum too in a certain regard, and didn't like the way I handled myself, like, or whatever it was. Like it just, you know what I mean? Like we're all so different, and we all have so many, we're all capable of so many different things. And so what Danny was telling me was that they did this study where they basically put a bunch of books in front of these kids, these like elementary school kids, and they the kids they were like, just like go and learn, right?
Yeah.
And write essays on it or whatever. And it's like, so they did. And then they were picking, I guess the kids were of their own volition picking stuff that was, they were challenging themselves. So they were picking stuff that was, like outside their reading level, or what do you know what I mean? Like they were challenging themselves.
Yeah.
And then as soon as she said, then they took that and they started grading the essays, and they started like assigning them a grade for the work they were doing.
Yeah.
Then they noticed that the kids, instead of challenging themselves, they were choosing stuff that was easier for them to do so that they could guarantee higher marks. So what they were in turn doing is they weren't challenging them. They were preventing themselves from being challenged, because they were just like trying to coast by and get a better grade, which actually doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like grade, like I feel like the way our school systems are structured and our grading systems are structured are bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Absolute bullshit.
Yeah. Excuse me. Sorry.
No, that's all good. I'll cut it out.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I agree. Honestly, I did so poorly in school because I
too.
Oh yeah, horribly. Like, yeah. Also, like seasonal depression as well. Like, I would do okay at the beginning of the year. All my grades would drop in winter, and then in spring, I'd get like a burst of motivation and like do mediocre for a little bit. Yeah, and then in high school, I took musical theater, got 100% in musical theater, and it's just like. Yeah, it's not the inability to focus.
Nope.
It's like, yeah, the stimulation. Like I can do something, but I can only do it for so long.
Yeah.
And it's like the energy it takes to focus on something that might not interest me will cause such an exhaustion or burnout that like, yeah, I can only do it in short spurts of time.
Yep.
It's, yeah, our brains are wild.
They're absolutely
magical
wild.
little
When I
things.
went to university, like I went to Mount Royal University, and I was taking basically like general studies, because like I took journalism at SAIT, but I dropped that because I was like, I'm not in, like I don't want a degree in journalism, like I don't care.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a waste of money this is. So then I dropped out of that and I went to university, and I was taking general studies, and then what I ended up doing was I basically dropped every class except my theater class. And all I was taking was like theater in university.
Oh my gosh.
One class essentially. And then after that class was done, I just didn't go back. And then I took screenwriting at SAIT, and I loved that because it was like half the time we were watching movies and like trying to break down and like reading scripts and like, you know what I mean? So like I really liked that. Yeah. But then that class got canceled out from underneath me. So I didn't get to like, I didn't actually get my certificate in it, which I was,
gosh.
yeah. Cause it was like the way they were running it was, it was like in, 2-month blocks.
Yeah.
Right. And then, so it was like, I did the first 2 and then the third one, because there was not enough people signed up for it, they canceled it. So then I had to wait a full year to get back to that point. And then by the time the year came around, it was like, Kate signed up, canceled again because there was not. And I was like, fuck. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So then at that point I was like, I gave up, because it's like, I don't want to wait another year. Yeah. Like, because by the time I wait like a third year, it's like I'd have to retake the first. Yeah, it was dumb.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, and you have like like they give you like 5 years to complete it, and it's like,
at that rate, how are you supposed to?
Yeah, like if you keep canceling it out from underneath me, how am I supposed to fucking finish anything? Yeah. So Yeah, it's unfortunate the way we're taught things. How the hell did we get... I asked you if you had ADHD, and like this is the tangent that we went on.
Exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is what this show turns into, is like I invite people that have ADHD on to come and talk to me, someone who has ADHD, and then it's just like, let's see where it goes.
Exactly. We can talk about this and this and this, and then we'll like start a subcategory of that topic, and then... But
it's great because it's just like, then it's like, oh shit, we didn't actually talk about the thing that you were supposed to come here to talk about. Yeah. See you in episode 2, and then I have to have them back. So it's like, it gives me more episodes, 100%. But it's like, oh my God.
That's so funny.
No, that's good. I'm glad Europe was fun. Like, it sounds like it was amazing, and it was like transformative in a way.
Oh yeah, it was very inspiring, and I feel like I came back to Calgary just being like so ready to keep pushing the art scene here and like building something, and I feel like we really represented Canada well going over there.
That's good.
Yeah, a lot of people were super stoked to come over here, and also just like the kind of shows that Cabaret Calgary are putting on are very unique. Yeah, we do a bunch of really wild shows. We have a show called Go-Go Battles that's like, it's a comedic femme wrestling show.
Okay.
Yeah, so
that sounds fun.
It's wild. You should come to the next one, actually.
I was going to say, where do you hold it?
This one's at Dickens.
Okay, yeah.
And we literally kind of change the layout of the venue. So we put down wrestling mats in the middle of the floor and then like line up chairs around it. And then on the stage, we have an announcer's booth.
Nice.
So there's like 2 announcers who are commentating like wrestling. We have hype videos.
As God is my witness, he is broken in half.
Yeah, seriously.
I love it. Oh my God.
It's bizarre. We have ringers who are just like kind of dancers in between the fights.
Okay.
But they're very like gaggy, shticky, comedic fights.
Right.
So, and there's like faces and heels, and if you've been like following along with the season, you can kind of see like who's you kind of like get a character that you
Are there some turns?
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. This season's a little bit different. We used to do it monthly, and it was a lot of work. So we've changed it to quarterly.
Okay. That sounds amazing.
It's amazing. This one is called Jump the Shark Week.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
I already love it so much.
So this one's going to have a lot of movie references, which is why I think you would love it.
Yeah.
You'd probably pick up on some of them.
When is it?
Let me check. It's in June. So maybe by the time this comes out, it won't be too late.
No, it shouldn't, because this coming Monday and the Monday. No, it won't be too late. Yeah. This will come out before June.
Woohoo! Okay, let me double check the date here. It's at Dickens. It's called Go-Go Battles.
Dickens, Go-Go Battles.
Go-Go Battles.
Rangers.
My wrestling character is Old Lady Ivy.
I love it.
Yeah. So do you remember May? May in WWF.
Oh, yeah.
She's the old lady.
Mae Young.
Mae Young.
Yeah, Mae Young.
I'm essentially the Mae Young of Go-Go Battles.
Oh my God, I love that.
Right? Yeah, it's...
You know what's funny about what you're talking about? We did a similar thing. We did it once. So every year Crossfield has a rodeo.
Oh my gosh.
So every year at the rodeo, they have a demolition derby. Okay. And it's like one of the biggest demolition derbies in Alberta.
Yeah.
I don't think it's one of the biggest in Canada, but it's definitely one of the ones. It's like, might be the biggest one in Alberta. Anyway. So one year, and I'm talking like, this is like 2009. So it's this long ago.
Yeah.
It might be the summer of 2010. Anyway, a group of us banded together and we created the Crossfield Wrestling Federation.
Oh my gosh.
And so in between the different demolition derby races, they had set up a bunch of hay bales, put like a thing over it. We built ropes out of like wood and like, you could not bounce off these ropes because they were awful, and like we did not dig them deep enough, but like we built like a pseudo wrestling ring, and then we were doing like these pseudo wrestling matches while they were cleaning up the cars, and I was the announcer for it. So I was on like the demolition derby guy would come over, hand me the mic, and all of a sudden we're a crowd, like a huge crowd, and like, oh yeah, they had their characters. That's so funny that you say that, because like that's something that we had in our minds, we're like, we're going to do this every year. We did it once.
Yeah.
And then like,
It's a lot of work.
it's so, well,
Yeah.
I mean, we had like a year to prepare, but like people go off to college and kind of like, you know what I mean?
Of course.
No,
Yeah.
this sounds amazing.
It's
so
wild. It's on June 7th.
Okay.
June 7th at Dickens. Go-Go Battles. Jump the Shark Week.
Jump the Shark
Yeah.
Week.
There's 3 rounds. And
Okay.
then four rounds. There's 4 fights.
Okay.
And then a 4-way winner fight.
Wow.
Yeah.
4-way.
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 Yeah, winner fight. So
Okay.
yeah. Jump
Are
the Shark
you
Week.
a heel or a face?
Okay, so Old Lady Ivy is my new character. My
Okay.
old character used to be Ivory Bloom, which was a little bit more, that season was more cohesive.
Ivory Bloom?
Ivory Bloom, yeah, so it's a play off Ivy Lafleur.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Ivory Bloom. She was a face. She was very sweet, very like hippie disco character. I was always decked
was.
out in like flowers and flower petals.
Right.
Yeah, she was really lovely. Old Lady Ivy, I can't decide if she's a heel or a face because...
Is this her introduction?
What do you mean? Oh,
Like-
no. I've done a couple as Old Lady Ivy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of been the transition because I think we just needed an old character.
Yeah.
But no, we did a Christmas one.
Oh my God.
It was called The War on Christmas.
Oh my God.
And Old Lady Ivy played Old Mrs. Claus. So there was like, that one was all tag teams. Yeah, it was wild. So there was Sexy Mrs. Claus and Old Mrs. Claus. We were one team. And then there was the elves were another team. There was Krampus versus... who did Krampus fight? I think Krampus fought the elves. There was also like Christian Jesus versus like American Republican Jesus.
Oh my God. I love that so much.
Some shit went down in that fight. Like once you go to Go-Go Battles, you cannot unsee certain things.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is not Old Lady Ivy's debut, but like I feel like we went into it thinking she might be a heel,
Right.
but people feel bad when an old lady gets beat up.
Yeah, of course.
So everyone loves Old Lady Ivy. Like they end up, anytime she's getting beat, they get really sad. They want her to win.
Well, and that's kind of the
So-
angle too, because like it's like that thing where like you could play it. You can play it from that place of like you know what you're doing, but
Yeah.
you're also playing on their emotions. So it's like
Totally.
when old people steal shit.
Yeah.
From like stores or whatever, and they're like, "Oh no, like you have to pay for that," and they're like, "Oh, where am I? Oh shit! Oh, I didn't know. I don't know what I'm doing."
Totally.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking
Yeah.
brilliant.
So I think she wants to be a heel.
She wants to be a heel, but the crowd is going to
The crowd
love
thinks
her.
she's a face. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I love everything about that. That is
Yeah.
so funny.
Yeah, it's incredible. You would absolutely love it. I wish I could tell you the movie references we're gonna make.
No.
but, like,
I'm gonna
my
come
lips
see
are
it.
sealed. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
see
gonna
it.
come see June 7th. You know what? Miles is here, so maybe Miles and I will come.
Hell yeah!
Yeah.
Please do. I'll make sure y'all get good seats and can see all the SmackDown.
Yes, please. No, actually, like that actually would be dope because then I can. I have to figure that out. I'll. Hi, Miles. I know you're listening to this. I'll figure out with you when you're gonna fly home so that we can go to Go-Go Battles. Hi. No, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
What else is like next for Cabaret Calgary?
Yeah, so we have Go-Go Battles, which is like a very satirical theatrical wrestling show. We also have a show every Wednesday at the Attic in Inglewood.
Okay.
And that's like a little bit more of a classic burlesque show. So it's all to like kind of old jazz music from like the 30s to like the 60s.
So good.
Yeah, and that's long form burlesque. So it's like 8 to 10 minutes. And we rove around the audience and play with the audience. So the audience kind of becomes part of the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's every Wednesday. We do a brunch at the Attic as well on the first Sunday of every month. So the next one's June 5th. We also have a really cool show called G-String. And this is kind of like where my past and cabaret meet. So the show is called G-String, and it's a collaboration of live local bands and burlesque. So this is also at Dickens, and the first set is burlesque for burlesque dancers, ideally dancing to like rock and roll or like alternative music of some sort. The second set, we have a local band come and play a set.
Okay.
And during their set, a dancer comes up and dances with them for one of their songs. Yeah, so it's like super, super cool because we just improv and we get up on stage with them and like kind of dance around them, get up on the drums.
Oh.
Yeah, so it just creates like a really cool experience to see live music. That's
And you
more
said that one's
interactive.
at Dickens as well?
Yeah, that one's
Okay.
at Dickens
Yeah, yeah.
on the second Thursday of every month.
Okay, because I've seen you. I've seen all the posters for all these different
Totally.
things, but it's nice to hear like, I guess I got to start coming out to some of that stuff.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's nice to hear like what the actual like what they are and
Totally,
stuff like
yeah,
that.
what they're all about. Yeah, and it's cool too because I feel like there's something for everyone. You know, if like not a lot of people have seen burlesque and they don't really know what it is. They assume it's just like the movie, which sure that has components of it, but it's a lot more broad than that. Yeah, so G-string's really cool because it's a good way to kind of build different communities because we get the draw from the band and then the band gets the draw from the burlesque community. So there ends up being a lot more overlap and expanding
Right.
our reach,
Right.
which has been awesome. And then we just launched a comedy show that's weekly, and that's at the Attic as well. It's called Laugh Loft. And that show is going to be every Sunday.
Okay.
Just launched on May 15th. But that show is kind of about uplifting female comedians, like kind of femme and BIPOC comedians. So creating space in the comedy world. I feel like the comedy world's a little bit of a boys' club. And there's obviously lots of, I don't know the right word that I'm looking for, but I feel like comedy can really stir the pot, you know? So it's kind of about creating like a safe
Well,
comedic
comedy's
space.
meant to provoke and
100%.
yeah. It's like
Yeah.
some of the best comedy in the world is shit that actually makes you think.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So this is just like comedy in a different way. But yeah, that's every Sunday. And then, wow, what else? We have a lot going on right now. It's wild. And then Pride is coming up. In June is Pride Month, so that's normally pretty busy for us as performers. And then September is Calgary Pride. So we normally put on our own little Pride that's not like corporate Pride.
Right.
So we normally do like a full weekend of events at Dickens. So we'll launch that soon. What am I missing?
I don't know.
Yeah, there's so many. Yeah, we also have another show at the Attic that is monthly. It's called Leopard Lounge. And that is a sketch show that's a drag performer kind of reminiscing on her days of the past.
Right.
So she's like, back in my day when I met Liza Minnelli and we did this. And then that's like acted out on stage by drag performers.
Unreal. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So really comedic as well. Yeah. I think that's.
Wait,
all
okay,
the
so
things.
because today's Wednesday.
Yeah.
And when we're recording this. And yeah, you said you have a show. So you have the one at the Attic tonight then.
Yeah. Yeah. The Chandelier Club. So that's the classic one.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's tonight. I'm going to be in that show. And then.
So how does that work? Do you buy tickets ahead of time or?
Yeah. You can either buy tickets ahead of time or you can normally walk in.
Yeah.
As long as there's a table available.
Okay.
But yeah, all the events are on the Cabaret Calgary website, which is cabaretcalgary.com. Hey. And you'll find all the links for all the
Right.
tickets.
So, sorry, the Attic is in, you
Inglewood.
said in Inglewood. Okay.
Yeah.
And what's that like? Like what kind of a space is it? Is it like a bar or restaurant?
Yeah, a little bit of both. So it's the old Salt and Pepper and Lolita's in Inglewood. So the basement is Vegan Street. Sorry, I need to cough. The basement is Vegan Street.
Okay.
And then, which used to be Salt and Pepper. And then the upstairs is Lolita's, or sorry, it used to be Lolita's. Now it's the Attic. And it's kind of like a cocktail bar.
Okay.
So it's a big open space. They do vegan pizza and all vegan food and then really great cocktails. And yeah.
I know the cord's annoying.
Oh, that's all good. I don't know how it got up here. But
I don't know.
It's impressive. They have like a very little stage up front.
Okay.
And then some chairs and booths along the back. But they've really focused on being a space for entertainment.
Okay.
So they've run a drag show called Carly's Angels.
Carly's Angels.
Have you ever heard of it?
Like Carly's Angels specifically?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. The reason I ask is because I believe Carly used to work for an airline.
Oh.
Yeah, but obviously not as her drag persona.
No. Okay. We can talk about that after.
Totally.
Yeah, okay. Because do I know this person?
I don't know.
Oh, well,
Maybe.
we'll find out. We'll find out.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Carly's Angels has been happening in that space for 20 years.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah,
When it was like all the other like Lolitas and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, and same with it now being the Attic. They're still there every Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've really focused on being an entertainment space. They let us run
And it's
shows
all
there.
vegan food?
All vegan food.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
vegan, vegetarian. I think vegan mostly, but yeah, they do vegan pizza. It's excellent. They have truffle popcorn. It's my favorite.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I actually do like truffle.
Love truffle.
Truffle's a very acquired taste. Not a lot of
100%.
people don't like.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like it.
No,
I like truffle.
Yeah, you either love it or you hate it.
It's like cilantro.
Exactly.
I fucking hate cilantro.
I love it. I love it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just like a cool little cocktail bar that has opened their doors to artists. And it's incredible. It's very supportive.
That's very cool. Yeah, I think, well, what time is that at tonight?
It's at 8:00 tonight. 8:00 on Wednesdays. It's a game night.
Yeah. See, that's what you were talking about before, where
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, the draw.
Yeah.
But it would be, well, God damn it. I wanted to watch the game, but I'm also like, I want to come and see your show.
I know. Yeah, there's lots of shows.
No, I know there's lots of shows, but I'm also just like, no, I'm gonna watch the game tonight.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I love you.
it's
I
the
love
first
you.
one.
I
Yeah.
love you, but I'm gonna watch the game.
Yeah,
tonight.
you'll be at Go-Go Battles on June 7th
Oh, I'm
anyway.
100% coming to Go-Go
Yeah.
Battle. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, I think that's right up your alley.
But no, I definitely. No, that's good. So yeah, cabaretcalgary.com.
Yep.
To get all the info about all the different shows that
Yeah.
you've got going on and all
Yep.
the different. Okay, yeah, it sounds like you got a lot going on, which is
Yes.
so wonderful to hear. And I know I did kind of hint at it at the beginning, like where you had come on tour with us, and I know it's funny. Like I have such fond memories of that tour, and I don't know, like I'm sure there's no way I remember all of it, but that was the tour where I met Krista.
Yes.
That was when I met
Yes.
Krista. So you were there for when I met my wife.
Yeah.
Which is
I know, that's so
crazy.
cool. I love it.
Right?
It's such a cool story.
And yeah, like what a wild what a wild time. One of my favorite pictures from that tour is I'm sitting in the van and I had just woken up and I was so tired. And there was that teddy bear in the
Yes.
tuxedo.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there like I look exhausted and I'm holding that little
Yep.
the teddy bear you guys brought.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that photo's on Facebook somewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll put if I can find it, I'll put it right here of me, baby me wearing I'm just wearing a hoodie, but I'm holding that teddy bear. It's just so funny.
It was so cute. Yeah, that tour was so much fun. There's so many fond memories of that tour. And like, yeah, I remember at the beginning of this podcast, you were like, I can't believe your parents let you do that. I've had so many moments thinking about my early 20s and like late teen years being like, wow, my parents let me do all those things. And I'm like, it's kind of cool. My parents knew the kind of person I was, and I was very passionate.
Yeah.
And they knew I didn't excel in school, but I was very passionate about the arts.
Yeah.
And it's just cool how supportive they've been of that. They
Your
know
entire life.
exactly. Yeah, my entire life. Like, I think my brother also has ADHD. And
Well, it's hereditary, so yeah.
yeah, right. I think my mom like wanted us to succeed and supported knowing where we would succeed instead of like expecting us to be
Yeah.
something and failing
Right.
and not feeling like we were good at something.
Totally.
So she just supported us in what we wanted to do. And I was also very stubborn in doing that.
You
So-
and I share that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, this is just who I am and how it's going to be. So
Yeah, because like it's wild. Yeah, it's wild to think back because you were like 16.
yeah.
You and the other girl that came with us, you were 16,
Yeah.
and it was like, yep, mom and dad, we're gonna hop in this van with there was what 5 of us?
Yeah.
5 guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just gonna hop in this van with 5 guys and go travel across the country.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, we only went to Winnipeg, but that's still like
Yeah. It was like Western Canada. And
yeah,
Yeah.
that is wild.
I know.
Because, and I mean, I don't fully remember everything that happened like on the tour, but I remember like there was a one night we were at like some gas station and some dude, like some really drunk guy came over the van and like made me feel uncomfortable. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
that. We
I
were at
don't
like some
remember
gas
that.
station. I think we were getting Subway or something at the gas station. Yeah, like some. I remember Winnipeg was like super sketchy.
Yeah.
Do you remember the house we stayed at?
No.
You don't?
No, I must have just like blocked it out. I was like,
Oh my God. So the neighborhood that we stayed in Winnipeg was like, I can't believe you don't remember this. We stayed at a really sketchy I slept in the van.
because that was a house show, wasn't it?
No.
Oh, it wasn't?
No, Winnipeg was the church show.
Oh,
Yeah, we played that big church. You don't remember that?
I'm gonna have to go through the photos.
That was also where we met the boys from like Set Anchors and
Yes.
Fall City Fall because they were
Yes.
already on tour, right? So they met us in Winnipeg and then we played that. So if you remember, we had known Lee for like all of 5 minutes and he was already like lounging all over our stuff.
Oh my
And there's that
gosh.
picture of him like laying in our van like this.
Yeah.
And we had known him for like literally like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And we were like, this dude's awesome. And then like I still follow like most of them on Insta and Facebook and stuff like that. And it's funny, like they're all so different.
Yeah.
They're all so different now, as compared to like who they were in the band and stuff. But anyway, the first show was the church show in Winnipeg.
Oh my gosh.
And then we stayed at, oh my God, whose house I can't remember whose house it was, but it was like, we stayed at like that. It was like a band dude's house that they were like renting and everybody just kind of slept in the living room. And then I think I slept in the van and like, I think two of us slept in the van because we were like so worried that it was going to get like broken into and like all of our gear and stuff stolen. Cause like literally like it was like a sketchy neighborhood. And then we, where did we go? We went from Winnipeg to somewhere in Saskatchewan. I can't remember if it was like Regina or
Moose Jaw.
Saskatoon. Well, Moose Jaw I think was like the third show.
Oh, okay.
But Moose Jaw was like the show got canceled on us, remember? And then they went to city council to go get a permit so we could play in the park.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. That was so cool.
Neither will I, because also I remember we were setting up for the show and these like kids came over and they were like, we were just talking to them or whatever. And we knew that the Holly Springs Disaster guys lived in Moose Jaw at the time. And I actually, I talked about this with Mike Fro on, because I did a live stream with Mike Fro like 2 years ago. No, a year ago.
Yeah.
Because I asked him, it was a different podcast at the time. I actually want to ask him to come and be on this show too. But I wound up like talking to Mike Fro about this. So these kids showed up in Moose Jaw and they were like, yeah, we know where the Holly Springs Disaster House is. And I was like, cool, take me there now. Ivy, I don't know what possessed me because I'm not that person.
Yeah.
Like I'm not like, oh yeah, take me. But like, I was like, take me there. Like I want to go. So we go to, I call it the Holly Springs Disaster House because that's literally what it was. And I think we go there and I want to say it was like the bass player and maybe one other guy in the band are like at their house and they're just like smoking weed. They were just like getting high and watching, because it was summertime. They were watching an old Stanley Cup final playoff game on TV, right? So we go there and it was like, you know, they were like, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll smoke a bowl. I get really fucking high with the Holly Springs Disaster guys. Oh, also on their wall is this giant banner from the Gateway at Sate. Do you remember the Gateway?
Yes.
They did all those banners.
Yes.
Those like really nice vinyl banners for like shows they were doing. So they had the really nice Saskatchewan like green and yellow one that they made.
Yeah.
That was hanging up at Sate for like ever. They had it on their wall.
Oh my gosh.
In this like townhouse, and I was like, oh man, I was like, oh shit, I was like, I went to Sate and like I was at that show.
Yeah.
And there he was like, cool. Like it was like he was very much like, why are these people in my house? I don't understand what's happening. But also he was like, I'm just like high watching hockey.
Yeah.
Like, so then I'm absolutely ripped out of my fucking head. These kids drive me back to the park, and I think I was like, oh shit, I have to get back because we have a show to play.
Yeah.
I think I got back. I wasn't there for soundtrack or anything.
Yes.
Do you remember this?
I remember this.
And the guys were mad, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they were pissed.
Yeah.
And so I show up and they're like, where the fuck were you? And I was like, I don't know what planet I'm on right now.
Yeah.
I'm so,
I don't know where I've been.
no, literally. I was like, I don't know what fuck. And I just remember we like, Moose Jaw was probably, I don't know if the show went well because I'm like, at a certain point I was on stage and God forgive me if I couldn't remember the lyrics and what was going on. I had a lot of fun though.
Yeah, it was a great show.
Sure.
It was great.
Sure.
Yep.
It was, I don't know. It was fun. That's all I know.
Yeah.
And then from there, I remember the best show we played on the entire the entire tour, I think was Humboldt.
Oh my gosh, Humboldt was so great. Yeah,
because Humboldt
was
was
a
where,
little hidden gem.
Yeah, Humboldt was awesome. Yeah. And Humboldt the one where we played in like that little community center.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Because what was the town where we played in that giant Kwanzaa? You remember like that rodeo thing where they had built the stage in the middle?
Yes.
What
was that?
That wasn't Humboldt.
That wasn't Humboldt.
I think Humboldt was the one where we played the little community center, and I think that one was like another small town.
Yeah.
Because that was the one where that was the small town where we just like parked there and slept in the van, right? Like all 8 of us or 7 of us or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh God, that was a nightmare. And we had all 3 vans parked like one after the other, and we all slept in the every single van slept. Oh my God, what a time that was.
I know.
And then we all went swimming.
Yes.
What town was that?
Oh my gosh. I have some hilarious pictures from that too.
Do you?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, please share.
Yes,
please send those to me
because I don't. The whole folder.
Yes, please do, because I don't have any of that.
Oh my gosh.
I have tour videos somewhere on like a drive somewhere. I don't know where it is, but I'd have to find it. But no, I remember Humboldt. We all after the Humboldt show, the kids were so into it. And I remember like we were like, wow, like that was the best show of the tour. Humboldt surprised us at how good everybody played and how epic the kids were that came out. Yeah. Like it was so good.
Yeah, it was so good.
And then I believe after that we came back and we bounced back and forth between, I think we came back and we did Calgary, Edmonton, Calgary, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And
that sounds about right.
The Edmonton show we did was the Avenue Skate Park. And that was another really good show too, because really the kids in Edmonton loved us. Yeah. Oh my God, they loved us. Yeah. And it's funny, like it's funny talking about that now, because like I miss that so much. Like it was being in a band was so fun. Yep. Like so fun. Yeah. But such is life. You totally. Whether or not we would have, made it to a, level where we could have, actually like turned it into a career, who knows? Yeah. But I miss those guys a lot. Like we had a lot of fun, and it was shitty how it ended, but like, I was a kid too. Like I didn't fucking, I think a lot of, I look at a lot of the things in my life where it's like, oh, I got to do cool shit. And then like, sometimes it just doesn't like work out. I attribute it to the fact that like, I couldn't get past my ADHD to like be able to focus and like put the work into something. Totally. Yeah. Because like as for certain things, as soon as it becomes not as stimulating and it's like more effort. Yeah. In the past, I'm just like, ugh. Yeah. And so that hasn't been a lot of fun, but I can recognize that now. Totally. I mean, yeah, being in a band is also a lot of work. It's a lot of work that people don't see. It's a lot of money. Yeah. Like, yeah. It's not, hard. It's a lifestyle that's not for everyone, because a lot of it sucks, because a lot of what I remember back to one time, or I guess the only time I ever saw a boys' night out. I saw them at I want to say they played the Underground, but they might have played the Warehouse. It was one of the two. But we were, you might have been in that show too. I
don't think I was.
Oh, okay. No. But we like ended up like, hanging out and like talking to the guys afterwards. And I mean, obviously Trainwreck was an absolute like powerhouse album in Canada, right? So when you're that young, you kind of look at them as like, oh shit, these guys are like famous. Yeah. Therefore they must be like uber rich, and like, you know what I mean? Like you equate that level of like I guess in our bubble, we're like, they're like super famous to us, right?
Yeah.
So I remember being like, oh man, like I would love like a train wreck movie. And I was talking to one of the guys and he was like, yeah, like so would we. But he's like, that requires money. And I was like, yeah, okay.
You have that, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like being that young, I'm like
Totally.
13, 14, 15, right? So I'm just like, yeah, like, you know, you guys are famous musicians. Like find the money, like get the money.
Totally.
Make the movie.
Yeah.
And so I thought about that recently where I was just like, oh my God, like that's it's not even really like a diluted world vision, but it's just kind of this like, you don't really have any concept of, and people still don't, right? Like people, there's like famous actors out there that like, you know, live paycheck to paycheck.
Totally.
But you know their name.
Yeah.
And they don't have as much, just because they're on TV doesn't mean they have, you know,
totally
millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So
yeah, lots of artists and musicians and anyone who does anything creative. It's like people don't see the money that it takes to invest in the things behind it or the amount of hours spent. Like
even with this,
I was gonna say,
this took a lot of money to put together to make like, you know, the production value look good, and then all the equipment and stuff like that. It takes a lot of money,
right? And then you break it down, and it's like you barely make minimum wage doing things like this. When you calculate the hours that you put into editing, the time of us being here, anything like this takes a lot that goes into it that people don't see. So they just assume because something's well done that like you're making lots of money.
Well, and it's funny too. Like I've quoted jobs, like video jobs before, where it's like you send out a quote and then it's, in some instances you either hear back and it's like, ooh, no, that's like a lot more than I thought it was going to be, or you just don't hear back at all. Yeah. And it's like, because it's just like I remember I quoted, I had this woman who was running a really successful online like course thing or whatever. And she had reached out because she had moved here and she had somebody like wherever she was living before doing the video stuff for her. Right. And so I had her, she reached out through like a reference from like another friend or whatever. And so we sat down, we had coffee. She kind of told me what she was needing. Okay. Yeah. And so essentially what she needed was like she needed a lot of work. Yeah. And it was going to wind up being like, I think the first round was going to wind up being like 10 videos. And so I was like, okay, like I underquoted it really. Of course. And I underquoted it at like $1,000 a video, you know, to do this thing. So it was like, it wound up being like a $10,000 quote. And what she ended up coming back at me with was like, she's like, oh wow, that's like, she was like, that's 4 times more than I've paid for any of this stuff before. And I, in that instance, okay, I now have she on her end is like looking to way underpay somebody. Yes. First of all. And second of all, I have no negotiating power to like get that job because I'm not dropping down to like, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, so what you're telling me is you've been paying somebody $2,500 to make all these videos and she's once, and that's the thing too, is like where it kind of frustrates me with somebody like that. I get it from a business perspective for her. Yeah, absolutely. She's getting all this work done for virtually no money. And she's got an asset that she's now continually selling and making money off of continuously. So for me, it's like, okay, like I think in that instance, it's like maybe I could have looked at it from like okay, I'll do the work for you, but I want like, maybe I want like an equity stake. Totally. Where it's like, okay, for every time you sell these videos, I get a percentage of what you're selling them for. And I don't think she would have gone for that either because it's like, it kind of sucked because I do like, I've learned a lot in terms of like, doing this and like how I can, what you can actually like, value yourself at and like what you're capable of. Right. So, cause for a long time, I've had a lot of people like, it's good, but you know, and like I spent a long time just kind of like, being told what to do. And also just like, anytime anything was suggested from my end, it was just like met with no. So I've had to learn how to like value myself in terms of like what I actually want to take on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, like certain, like, cause honestly, certain projects aren't worth it. They're not worth the headache of like, what it would take to get that done.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, would that have been a good contract to get for, and like continuous work? Absolutely. Because she was in need of constant, video work. Would it have been a good investment for her? Yeah. Because even at $1,000 for video, if she's 10xing that, she's already like, it doesn't matter. So she's investing 1,000 per. If she's making 10 off, she was making way more than that. But if she was making a minimum of 10 per video, like
her costs are covered.
Exactly.
Like,
no matter what, your costs are covered. You're making what you're paying me in one video.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just like, that's the cost of doing business. So, it's like it's just kind of funny how like, there's this like memes about how you'll have clients where it's just like, you know, it's a $50,000 job and you won't even ever hear from them until like, here's your final product. And they're like, great, cool. Yeah. Like, thanks. Here's your money. Yeah. And then you have clients where it's like a $300 job and they're like basically sitting on your shoulder going, you know, because they're so worried about their $300. And it's like, give me a fucking break. Yeah. So yeah, I've definitely had, pain in the ass clients in the past and they're just, but I mean, yeah, I guess that basically the thing. Some jobs are not worth it. Do you guys do corporate stuff?
Yes, we do. But yeah, we're also very particular about what we take on because like you said, some things aren't worth it, you know, and people really love to undersell things that they don't know the cost of, that they assume should be free.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, we do corporate stuff. We're really picky about it. We like to make sure it aligns with like our values of who we are and that it's a safe space for us to be going into and bringing entertainers into. So we tend to be a little bit more...
And queer entertainers.
Exactly. Yes. That's like something we always talk about with like our venue partners, like right off the bat is like, we're queer women. We have a very heavy queer
emphasis.
Yeah. That's like who we work with. So this needs to be a safe space. So especially queer entertainers and like people of color, like we just want to ensure it's a safe space. So that's something we always talk about with our partners. If the venue or if this corporate situation can't offer that to us, we most likely won't take it on. And we always charge accordingly. And
good.
Yeah, we've corporate events. They're a gamble. Some people love them. I have a love-hate relationship with them because it's very different, you know, like you are in that situation, you are being hired for a service where with the shows that we choose to put on, we are choosing how people see us.
Right.
You know, I like them because they're good money. They're fun, but you very much so have to be what people expect you to be for the time that they're hiring you.
Right.
So yeah, we've had a couple weird situations. Yeah, we got hired for a corporate event that was supposed to be 2 weekends, Friday, Saturday, each weekend. And there was just kind of like a couple of red flags from the get-go. He was talking it up and we were like, okay, sure. We got a contract. We got a deposit. But we hadn't gotten any promo materials. And the show is about to happen in like 5 days. So we had emailed him being like, hey, today's your last day. You can cancel and get your deposit back. Do you still want to move forward? this person wanted to move ahead. So we go ahead. We get an email from him like 2 days later. And he was like, I still want to do the Friday show, but I'm going to cancel the other 3. So we were like, okay, just have a feeling this isn't going to go well.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So.
Oh, God.
Right. And we also got an email from him that was like, potentially, it was quite transphobic. We got an email from him that was like, hey, some of our staff are concerned that there might actually be men that are in drag. And we were like, no, we're all women. You're like, and even if there was, like, why is that an issue? So it was just like, we were going into it with like our guard up, which we always do.
Of course.
In corporate events, especially. So the day of the show comes up. We all go down there together. It was kind of like on the way out of the city, this venue. I'm not gonna name drop them because I feel bad.
No, that's fine.
And it's not the venue. It's not the venue's fault. It's the person who hired us. But we show up there. It's like a little bit out of the city and there's no one in the parking lot. And I was just like, this is how a horror movie for showgirls starts.
That's a great concept, by the way.
100%.
But go on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we are trying to find, it's a gated parking lot. One of the gates is closed. And we were like, ugh.
I know exactly what venue you're talking about.
Yeah, most likely.
It starts with a B. Well, it used to start with a B.
Oh, maybe not.
Does it start with an F now?
It does not.
Oh, but then I don't know what it is.
Yeah. It's not a common venue, but you'll know it. You'll know it.
Oh, maybe it's the other one I'm thinking of. Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we show up, we finally find a parking lot, and we cannot see anyone around. So
and this is for the Friday show that's still happening.
Yes, the Friday show that's still happening. So
oh my God.
It's me, Bitch Sassany, and Carla Marks. Bitch gets out of the car, and like in my head, I'm just like, she shouldn't be going anywhere alone. Oh my God. So she gets out, she kind of starts poking her head into like these buildings. There's like 3 buildings on this like big property.
What time of the day is this, by the way?
It was like 6:37. So
PM?
PM.
Oh.
Yeah, it was weird. And then she comes back with someone who was like, had a hat on, a camo sweater, shorts, a drink in their hand, and a dog that's like a wolf dog. And I was just like, that cannot be the producer. So we meet this lovely human, and he's like, yeah, I know this event is happening. I have not heard anything about it. We ask about the producer. The producer's not there yet. So
what?
Yeah, we call him. He's 10 minutes away. He shows up. Turns out they sold 2 tickets. I know. Yeah. Which he then ended up refunding because he was like, well, there's no purpose of doing a show for 2 people. But he then, because we had come ready to perform with all our like showgirl makeup on and everything, he was like, well, if you want, you can like I'd still like to see what you do. So he was expecting us to do the show for him. And we were just like,
I hate this.
Isn't it uncomfortable?
That I got so uncomfortable is because it's like, oh my God. That's
yeah.
so because it's like, did he plan it this way?
Right? Like it's hard to tell. Like I'm like, dude, if you knew that he canceled the 2 tickets. So why did you not tell us that before? Like, why did you not save us the trip of coming out here?
Oh, he canceled the tickets before you...
Yeah, before we even got there.
Oh, so, like, that's really weird.
Yeah, so he knew it wasn't going to happen. And yet we still come out because we don't know. He hasn't told us this.
Oh, and my God.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I still want to see what you do. So we were just like, honestly... That's not going to work. It's not going to be the same. If you'd like to see what we do, you can come.
Yeah, like
to one of our other shows.
Yeah, man. There's other places to do this.
Yes. Instead of like this empty hall.
Oh my God.
That's freezing. Like, yeah. So long story short, yes, we do corporate gigs. They require intensive contracts and a deposit.
And promotional material.
And promotional materials. Exactly. Like,
oh my God.
unless it's a private event, which this one was clearly not. If it's not a private event, let us know and let us promo it. Turns out that's important.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
No, it was one for the books. It was an odd one. Yeah.
That makes zero sense. I mean, I guess you kind of get a funny story out of it.
Totally. Yes.
But still.
Yeah.
That's creepy and weird and gross and
Yeah. Thankfully, like, we still got paid because of that deposit. Bless.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, well, you're showing up performance ready.
Exactly.
Like you're, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No, I'm like, all I can picture is like the movie version of that where it's just like it goes sideways pretty quick.
Yes.
But it would be such a good movie.
It would be such a good movie. It would turn into like an Alberta cult classic.
I want to make that movie.
I think we should make that movie.
Okay, let's make that movie.
It'll be like B-rate, low budget.
Oh yeah, B-rate,
right? You know,
for sure.
like
Yeah.
because it has to have that cult classic vibe.
Oh, and it would for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can already picture like the car ride over where you guys are just like you all are just having fun, and yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
You're all having fun, and you know you're in makeup and getting ready, and then it's like you pull up to the house, and it's what, and then it just very quickly takes this really weird turn. Yeah. But there could be some twists and turns thrown in there.
Absolutely.
Some unexpected.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say the venue because it has nothing to do with the venue. This person had
They
rented out the space.
Yeah.
Booked
What was the venue?
The Wild West Event Center right beside Callaway Park.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know exactly.
Right?
That's even weirder then.
Isn't it weird?
That is so far outside the city.
Exactly. Like, and does that not lend to this like showgirl horror movie? Like this weird like.
I mean that. Yeah, at that time of night, because they have like our dogs go to the Springbank boarding over there, right?
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with the area because we've been there many times, and obviously I've been to Callaway Park.
Yeah.
I've never been to the Wild West Event Center in particular, but yeah, that venue's like in my head. Do you know the Bear's Den? Or Bear Den or whatever. It was a steakhouse, and now it's called Flores and Pine. It's right on the edge of the city.
Okay, I don't think I've
headed out. Like if you took like Crowchild past Stony, like headed towards like Cochrane, it's on the left hand side. That's what I thought you were talking about. And I was like, because I could see like that being like a fancy place for.
Totally
doing burlesque and stuff
would make more sense.
Wild West, like now that you've told me the venue, that makes it even weirder because it's like, what was this guy? What was he thinking?
Exactly.
Like he didn't promo the show at all.
No.
Like what was he putting the show on for?
I have no idea.
That makes it even worse because it's like, what were you doing?
Yeah,
like what was like? Oh my God!
Bless his heart. He was in like his probably mid-60s.
It was an old guy?
It was an old guy.
Was he literally just trying to like...
I don't know.
That is so weird.
I know. And I shouldn't feel bad. I shouldn't because it was weird. But part of me is just like, oh, dude.
No, don't feel bad. That is
know.
that is serial killer vibes.
Yeah.
It is definitely serial. And no. Just because he's an old man, don't feel bad.
Yeah. And he left. I think we need to make this movie because he lent the perfect sequel. He was like... He was trying to sell us on being performers on his houseboat.
What?
Yeah, he's like, well, I want to see what you do because I have this houseboat that I'm going to bring people on.
Oh my God. Oh my God. What? Okay, but what do we call this movie? Like, I mean, Drag Massacre comes to mind, but I don't want it to be that. No. What I would want it to actually be is I want it to be like... The
strippers in the wild.
The strippers in the wild. No, because your typical like... I mean, you have to lose some characters because, I mean, you have to.
You have to.
But what I would want it to be is I would want it to very much be like the group of you versus him.
Yes.
And whatever he's like set up. And
when we stomp the patriarchy.
Exactly. There you go. Right on the stomp the patriarchy on the boobs.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what I would want to set up where it's like, it's yeah, it's a horror movie, but it's not just your typical, like, he's going around taking or like knocking off the characters one by one. It's like, no, they're gonna fight back. And then so yeah, it does lend itself. So then it's like Drag Massacre 2, the houseboat or whatever. And it's like, so then you're all like hanging out on a houseboat, and suddenly he comes back, and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm back, bitches. Houseboat style. And it's like, dude, we told you we didn't want to go to your houseboat.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Totally.
That is bizarre.
Yeah.
That is so like, what?
Yeah, that's one for my memoirs for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. That makes it way worse.
Yeah.
That he was just like, oh yeah, like, I want to take you out to the middle of the lake.
Right? Exactly.
All of you.
Dude.
It's like, were you going to promote that
exactly
event too? Or is that just for you as well?
Yeah.
It's just for me. It's just for me. I just want you to come and perform for me on my boat.
Oh my God.
Please come perform on my boat.
Yeah. He's like, oh yeah, there'll be all these people. It's like, well, are you going to have a side boat for us to like get back to shore when we're done? Or do we just have to hang out on the boat?
No, you will sleep on the boat. You're going to sleep on the boat, and you're never going to leave the boat. Once I have paid for you to be on the boat, you are on the boat. You're never leaving the boat.
Yeah. And then we end up in Alaska. And
we're going to Alaska.
oh my God. Oh.
Gross and weird.
Yes.
Mr. Houseboat Man.
Yeah.
Wild West Center Man. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so...
It was odd.
His name was probably Brian. I don't know what his name was. I don't care. No, that's... I think we should write that.
Yeah,
I have a couple other movie ideas that I want to write as well, but I would work with you on that one to write that.
Yeah.
Because that sounds fun. I also... Okay. Plastic is another thing that, like, we like half finished it, and it was like winter when we shot the first half, and then I was gonna wait till the summer and then
Story Hive happened.
Yeah, so then Monuments happened, and it was actually kind of good that it kind of happened that way, because the one day we did on Plastic actually did help with Monuments in a sense, if that makes sense. Because it did kind of, it just helped me like figure out how I wanted to structure shooting that.
Yeah.
And then so with Monuments taking over and like having the money to do that and buy some equipment and stuff, like it just like Plastic got shelved.
Yeah.
And did you ever see Plastic is a short film that I wrote and directed and shot half of with Aaron and like a bunch of people. We shot at a bowling alley, a diner. Like we shot in some pretty cool. Oh, we shot at your house too.
Yeah.
We shot in some pretty cool places, but it just never got finished. And it's something that like I've wanted to revisit it, but like in a different way, if that makes sense. Like I think I've told you this before, where I'm like, I kind of want to rewrite some of it and like go back to it. Yeah. And not take it so literal, and actually like kind of make it a little bit more, I can tell you about it later, but it's, that's something that I've wanted to revisit, and I still want you to be in that. And I want,
be so cool.
It'd be, cause I think it would be cool. But you weren't the final, no, you weren't. It was Pharaoh was the one that was going to get offed. Right. Yeah. You were the friend that had weird vibes about.
Yes, about the bowling alley dude.
The bowling alley dude. Yeah. But yeah, I don't think, like I would think, and I mean like getting to shoot in there was super cool. I mean, other than the fact that it was like so early in the morning.
Yes. The footage was so good though.
Oh yeah. Oh, I still look at like a lot of those frames that we took, and like the thing is like it looks amazing for like what I was able to do then. I'm like, what I'd be able to do now is like miles beyond that. Yeah. Which is kind of what I want to do now. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of I've got lots of movie ideas. It's just it comes down to that whole like what you were saying before. This is how it comes full circle. Funding. Yes. Where there's not enough money for funding certain artistic endeavors and stuff like that. Yeah. So I mean, I'm gonna look into maybe finding some private investors or whatever to fund some of these projects and stuff. get them off the ground.
Yeah,
But
there's some grants, but they're so
grants are
time-consuming.
so hard to get.
Yeah, very time consuming, and I feel like
grants alone are a full-time job.
yes,
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, you have, or you can pay someone to do it for you, and then it's like, well, where are you getting that money to pay them?
Exactly.
Like,
and you're like, yeah, and in order to get the money to do some of these artistic things, and it's just like you have to work so hard to prove that like what you're working on is like worthwhile, is a worthwhile and artistic endeavor. And art is so subjective. It is so subjective, and it's like if your application comes across the desk of somebody who's just like, I don't like what I don't see the vision here.
Yeah.
Then you just kind of get shuffled aside. Whereas like the person who may have seen your vision is like the next office over.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and it's so arbitrary the way things are handled sometimes.
Yeah, I feel like people who have already had grants are more likely to get grants.
Yeah.
Because people have seen their vision and have seen it come to life. You know, so it's just, again, like a little bit of a circle.
For sure. So it's frustrating in that sense, but I think it's still doable.
Yeah.
Very doable.
Yeah, it's a good, arts is like a good balance of like choosing what's going to be a labor of love and like what's going to be, well, I need.
Well,
you can only do so much labor
for
of love.
sure. And I mean, like that's kind of what I'm working on right now is figuring out the business side of this, where it's like, okay, we have, so like, yeah, I'm doing the podcast, but it's like, I need to have revenue coming in to support the podcast and to support the other creative endeavors that I want to do in life. And also that I can keep a roof over my head and food on the table. So there's like, those aspects of it that I'm working on, and it's like the business. It's funny because Krista's like, you should take a business course or whatever. And it's like that ADHD thing in me, or that passionate side of me is like, no, I need someone who knows business and knows how to do this to do it for me or do it with me because I don't have the attention span.
Totally.
Because I'm not passionate about it. I want to own a business. I want to run aspects of a business, but I'm not passionate about learning how to do that necessarily. If that makes, I know it's like weird, but it's not like
that's like knowing your strengths, and also like other people excel at different things, and that's how teams get created and how you're most likely going to be the most successful. Because why set yourself up for failure? Trying to take this on, knowing it's just going to wear you out and you're going to become resentful to what you love.
100%.
Like, it's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it at all.
Way better just to find someone who excels at that.
Yeah, 100%. So that's what I'm working on right now. But I'm really, I'm knowing you as long as I have, which is quite a few years now.
Yeah.
Like going on close to 15 years knowing you now.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with what you've done.
Thank you.
And what you've built, and like where you've taken, you know, your artistic endeavors, and where you've taken your life essentially, because I mean, it's led you to fucking Europe.
Yeah, totally.
Like you literally got paid to perform in Europe.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, that if that's not a dream job, I don't know what is.
Yeah, totally.
So I'm super proud of you, and I'm
Thank you.
Absolutely like beyond stoked for you and everything that you have coming up. And I'm really excited I know I should have probably come see you perform. Well, I've seen you perform in the past. Like I did that one at the Plaza Theater.
Yes. Yeah.
So I have seen you perform, but like I'm really excited to come see like more of your stuff.
Yeah.
In the future, especially Go-Go
Battles. Yes.
I'm really excited about that one.
Yeah.
Cuz that sounds,
it's up your alley.
Oh, it's right up my alley. I mean, as you can see.
Yeah.
I've got the old school wrestling, and what sounds like what you guys are doing is old school wrestling. I don't like new wrestling, but you guys are closer to old school wrestling. Oh, yeah. So
yeah, very much so.
I'm all in that. So yeah, thank you so much for coming and doing the show today. I would love to have you back, and we can talk more about old tour memories. And please, oh my God, send me those photos, because I want to, and then I can put them in this episode so people can
I'll send you some photos. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
Yeah, I would love to do this again.
See
where our tangents take us.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure you visit cabaretcalgary.com so that you can see everything that Ivy and crew are up to. And please go to their shows. Yeah. Go to the Attic. Go to Dickens. Go come in from wherever you are in the world. Come to Calgary. Come see the entertainment we have in Calgary because there are some really talented people here. Yeah. Don't go to New York for burlesque. Come to Calgary.
Yeah. Trust me. I've seen New York burlesque. It's great. But is it Calgary burlesque?
Mm-mm.
I don't think so.
This is Burlesque Central.
This is Burlesque Central. You heard it here first.
Mm-hmm. So, for this episode of This Will Never Work, I'm Lincoln.
And I'm Ivy Lafleur.
Yeah, yes you are. We'll try again tomorrow.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Sometimes the irony of trying to write a theme song for a show called This Will Never Work gets the best of you, and, well, it sucks. So, welcome.